Welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Zen Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei. As always, you guys can give this podcast a listen on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play. You can also check us out on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei. And you can also follow me on Twitch at the same name, which I will probably be on today. Well, by the time you guys hear this, I'll be off already. But, you know, you can go watch clips. I put up highlights, all that good stuff. But anywho, normally this is the part where I say, as always, I'm joined with my co-host Theanticool, but he is absent today. He is not present in the classroom. He's in Disneyland, Disney World. He's somewhere doing something related to Disney. He's on the streaming service, I guess. I don't know. He's somewhere over there. He's doing fun things, I would hope. But to fill in his place, resident dojo roommate, we let him sleep on the couch. He raised the fridge, and we just kind of don't care. You know, at this point, you know, you guys know him. If you don't, Joey from the Thesportssoundoff. How's it going today, sir?
Really good until you compared me to like a parasite. Now we're not doing something. Now we're not doing something. No, I'm fine. Happy Easter. If you're listening, it's not Easter when you hear this, but it is Easter as of this moment. So I guess happy Easter. Happy Sunday if you don't celebrate. I am the interim Untitled for today. He is out, apparently doing fun stuff. I'm hoping he's doing some scouting for the BBQ Fight League. From what I've heard, he's at an area where barbecue is quite prominent.
Hey.
So perhaps the original BBQ Fight League area. So if you think about it, so here's hoping he's doing some scouting. He's going to come back with some names, maybe get some contracts signed. But yeah, I'll be taking his place.
Scouting for the BBQ Fight League is weird because, like, you have to just look out for dad bods.
I think what you got to do is you got to walk around, and if you smell barbecue, you have to go across the street and then kind of check the place out from a safe distance. And you look for, like, the biggest guy, and then you're like, that's the BBQ Fight League guy I'm going to go for.
Is he big? Is he wearing Crocs? And is he wearing, like, khaki shorts?
Is everybody walking away from him when he's trying to talk to them?
Right.
If so, that's the dude.
Yeah, there you go. So that's everybody's job on this podcast. If you happen to just not be here, you just got to scout out and about.
You have to contribute in some form or fashion.
Yeah, because BBQ Fight League by 2025, it's gonna be a real thing.
Damn straight, I'm with it.
Probably get shut down after the first event, but that's not the point. I didn't mention this is episode 131.
Oh, there we go. Of course, got to get the episode number. Well, I mean, look, if you could do bare knuckle fighting, why can't you do barbecue fighting?
Bare knuckle.
Just saying, if you can do that, you should be able to fight in your front yard, wearing like the Kiss the Cook apron, and I don't think Crocs should be a part of the BBQ Fight League outfit. But
it'll be you know, when you win, I guess it's like if you become like the champion, you get a golden grill. You win the other person's family because we agreed that was a thing.
Yeah, you have to claim you have to claim the other person's family. It's like Mortal Kombat, you know, you claim the soul, but you claim the family.
There you go. And then you get a nice, whatever the newest Crocs are at the time. You get the latest edition of the Crocs in whatever color.
I'm gonna bet a dude like Tim Boach would be really cool with that. Like, you get the Crocs and you got to get the other person's dog.
I feel like he was the inspiration for us even bringing that up. I feel like he was like the first prototype BBQ Fight League guy we thought of.
He's a middleweight, and that's the BBQ Fight League division.
Yeah.
So.
And he just looks like the toughest dad at the barbecue. Like.
He looks like the dude who absolutely wants you to see something funny he saw on Facebook, for sure. Like, the guy who's like, hey, come here, I want to show you something, but you never want to go near him. Tim Boach seems like a nice guy, but there's a type. We have a type for the BBQ Fight League, and I think he fits into that.
So if you hear this, Tim Boach,
you're retired now, or I think you're retired. I can't remember, but if you're free, man, we got a spot for you.
Come back for one more, possibly two. You got to win and defend. So.
Yeah, it's a 2-fight contract.
Yeah, 2-fight contract.
We'll give you all the pay-per-view points.
Right. You'll be the only fighter that anybody knows on that entire card.
I'm trying to think of who else just seems to fight in random locations that we can get. Travis Fulton? I guess we can get... trying to think of... I can't remember anybody else.
Go find somebody.
Oh, yeah, the UFC cuts guys like every day. Well, we'll get a dude off the scrap heap.
Just stay on Twitter and tag them. So you just got cut there. That's a shame.
Yeah, we're just scoping. We're competing with Bellator. All we have to offer is, we got ribs.
Right. Ribs and Crocs.
Ribs and Crocs. And another person's wife, if you want.
And a golden grill.
Beautiful.
Oh, man.
And if it's a tournament, you can win a Ford F-150. So now you're affiliated. But it's used. We just can't confirm the mileage.
Oh man, we would put so much thought and detail.
I'm just saying, I can already see the posters being made.
This has to be real. If I ever become rich in any capacity, even if I'm just even if I just make $1 million, I never make it past like that. I'm making a BBQ Fight League.
$1 million. I'm just thinking of a Mortal Kombat where Tim Boach is the Goro, and if you beat him, you get the Ford F-150. And just a string of random dudes from local McDojos showing up.
Do we even have ring girls?
Yeah, we can get some. The wives. I'm trying to. No, we gotta be progressive. Because Theanticool, he's a progressive kind of guy. He would not We gotta have ring guys too. So,
I mean, you are fighting for a family, so.
It's a good point. Ring guys. I'm trying to think of who would fit the ring guys. Moniker. Trying to think. Who can we get?
I don't know. It's got to be another. Is it got to be another dad person?
I don't know. I don't know if that would excite.
I feel like the ring people should be a part of the family that you're about to win.
Man. Oh, jeez. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of somebody who makes some sense. Who do anything. Who you see all over the place. Dennis Bermudez. Dennis Bermudez seems like he would be cool with that kind of role. He's free. He's not doing anything.
I don't know. We'll hash out details. I'll drop a business plan.
I feel like we've got some serious and listen, let's be fair. Everything is on. We're going to talk about this later. Everything's on a streaming service now. There's a streaming service out there that would jump on this.
Oh yeah. Bare Knuckle can take off. The BBQ Fight League is definitely going to take off.
I was going to say Artem Lobov, but I think his arms are too short to hold up the round cards.
Well, no, he's about to be the bare knuckle god. So I think he found his home. He found where he belongs. But yeah. So that was our BBQ Fight League spiel.
Listen, I don't want to put any spoilers out there, but that may be more entertaining than anything that happened on either of these cards we're going to start talking about. So.
Yeah,
which were not bad shows. So.
They were decent. So before we get into fights, probably talk a little Rizin, little Crawford Khan, and then of course we'll get to Overeem and Oleinik and all of those happenings. But before we get to that, we're just gonna go through some fight announcements and news. News was pretty. There's not a lot going on this week, but the news that did happen was just kind of out there. It was just really out there. But we'll start with fight announcements first. I'll just kind of run through these and then we'll get to the news stories. So not really a ton of fight announcements. I almost feel like I'm missing something, which could be possibly true. But running from the top from the notes that I have, Charles Oliveira and Nick Lentz, for whatever reason, are going to fight for the third time at UFC Rochester. Not sure who asked for this, but whatever. It's a thing. Angela Hill will be stepping in for, I want to say it was Jessica Penne, right? I want to say.
Yeah.
She'll be fighting Jodie Escabel at UFC Fort Lauderdale. Deron Wynn, who, if you guys don't remember, was on. God, was he on the Tito Chuck?
Yeah, Golden Boy MMA.
Yeah. He's Cormier's homeboy. He'll be making his UFC debut at UFC Greenville against Marcus Perez. Also on that card, we'll get to see Molly McCann versus Arian Lipsky. That's actually all I have for UFC fight announcements, pretty much. Moving on to Bellator, Tywan Claxton versus James Bennett will be at Bellator 221. Pedro Carvalho will be stepping in for Ryan Scope. He'll be fighting Derek Campos at Bellator Birmingham. And at Bellator London, Melvin Manhoef, still out here somehow. He'll be fighting Kent Cole-Pippin. I probably butchered that.
Kapanen, I think his name is.
There we go.
I was gonna say the Swedish guy, but I don't know if he's Swedish.
Yeah. So that'll be going down at Bellator London. And in signing news, Bellator signed former Strikeforce fighter Bobby Volker and former UFC/Invicta vet Leslie Smith. So that'll be a thing. Nick Newell, he will be fighting in CES MMA against Calvin Hackney. And for all of you bare knuckle fans, all of you savages out there, the fight that I guess everybody wanted. This is like the I don't know. This is the Ali Frazier of bare knuckle. I guess.
Hear me?
Hello. Yeah, I
accidentally hit the mute button. Of course I did.
Yeah, you muted it on this fight.
No, I like leaned over to grab something to look up the nationality of this fella who's gonna be fighting Melvin Manhoef, and I bonked it. So hot start.
Bare Knuckle FC New Hampshire. Artem Lobov versus Paulie Malignaggi. I don't know. I guess people are really hyped for this. I most likely not be in attendance. I will not be watching. I will not be streaming. I don't know. But bare knuckle just isn't my thing. But I'm glad you guys are happy. I hope you get all that you deserve. I don't really know what that is, but I hope you get it. I hope you get it.
He's from London, so he's like about this bare knuckle, like not bare knuckle FC, but so much this fight. Like, what is this even comparable to? Is this like when Bellator got Kimbo for like that very short period of time? Because realistically, like if you were doing a bare knuckle, like this is the only fight that's gonna make any sort of like financial leeway, I guess.
I don't know. Do they ever put out their numbers for like?
They don't, but like, Annicole and I kind of go back on this every once in a while. Who is, he's absent from class today. He got a note, but like they do really big social media metrics. But like again, I'm always the belief that doesn't mean anything unless it translates to financial gains. So I don't know what it is because like it's easy to get people to. I coughed right into the mic. Perfect. It's easy to get people to tune in on like YouTube, but can you get them to pay for it? So like, how do you get people to pay for this unless you're going to try to convince them that Conor McGregor is going to somehow get out of his UFC contract
right
to fight Paulie Malignaggi if he wins in bare knuckle and not boxing? Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
I mean, I mentioned this on last week's episode. I had read a little blurb from Jason Knight because he main evented in the last card they had, and he's claimed that he made well, really, I don't I don't know how much this really means, but he said that he made more in that headliner than he did in his last UFC fight. But then I had to think back to his last UFC fight, and I was like, well,
it's
probably did.
I mean, well, it's possible. Like Tito and Chuck got paid big, but that card didn't make any money. I don't think we're ever going to see another Golden Boy MMA event.
No, we definitely should not.
So, it's like, and hey, look, if guys are getting paid, they need to get paid. If they're not in the UFC, they need to make some money. Like, I'm totally with that. I don't like bare knuckle FC. I think it's a little too, I guess it's a little too much for me. But then again, like, the night fights is too much for me, so maybe I'm just a sensitive guy.
No, I'm just a hypocrite.
Perhaps. Well, we're all hypocrites here. We're all hypocrites.
I hope they're getting paid though. Like as much as I'm not really a fan, and I'm probably like never. I went out of my way to watch one event, and that was just enough for me, and I just never went back. But I mean, I hope they're getting paid because I'm not trying to get punched in the face at bare knuckle, and then my check comes up missing, or money comes up short, and briefcases are gone. I don't.
I mean, we've already had that with the one that had Lieben against Baroni and Hendricks, because like Chris Lieben, I think he's suing the guy I might be going to jail for a million other things. So you know, like if guys get paid, I'm happy for that. Like I'm happy that these guys have a place to work. I don't know if I trust all the numbers that claim that this is a big deal, because again, like I'm not seeing any of it. But you know, if it's successful for them, I do hope that they keep doing them.
Yeah. I mean, they do seem to have a pretty dedicated fan base, so maybe it'll just be this little niche, little dirty underground secret.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
But I mean, hey, yeah, like you said, if people are getting paid, I'm not against anybody making money. It's legal. Even if I don't like it, it is what it is.
And let's be honest, like there are probably fighters who really, really, really do need something to do besides, like, there are fighters who absolutely, as we're learning, like need to be in the gym 24/7 doing something.
All right, because if they don't, it leads to them stealing taxis.
Stealing taxis or threatening dudes with machetes. So.
I didn't write that down either.
So, allegedly threatening dudes with machetes.
Oh no, he definitely did it.
Listen, allegedly.
I can just picture it in my head.
I'm trying not to picture it in my head.
Oh man.
But I'm just saying, like, clearly, like, there are some guys who are not prepared for life outside of not competing. So whatever keeps them in competition, I guess, is fine.
I'll say real quick before we move on, because this was something I meant to bring up last episode, and I completely spaced out and just didn't mention it like at all. Did you see the tweet from the one championship announcer, Chiavello, right?
Oh, Chiavello with the 853 million people watching.
You're right. I think he said it was like 41 or 44, something in that ballpark of people that watched the I think that was the New Era card.
Yeah, it's something like that, which is possible, certainly possible. But I think in the States it only did like 120,000 people. So
yeah,
look, it's possible, like because just China's so big, like. Those tough Chinas used to do like 9 million viewers, and that sounds like a lot of people, and then you're like, well, really not.
Yeah, when he first tweeted it, I was like, oh no, you're lying.
Fun with numbers. It's a little fun with numbers.
Yeah, but then
it's
I thought
worldwide.
About it. Yeah, but it was like Asia is actually really huge.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically get 41 mil, but then on the scope of things, if I compare 41 mil to like the amount of people in Asia, let me see if I can find the population. Jesus Christ. All right, I mean, this is Wiki, so, you know, maybe give or take some numbers here or there. But, well, this was as of 2016, but I'd imagine this number hasn't changed too much since then. 4.463 billion people in Asia.
Yeah, there's more people in Asia than there were dollars paid for the UFC. Like, there are a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And so it's certainly possible that you could turn that kind of number. It's just a matter of, like, what does that even mean contextually?
Yeah, what does that actually translate into?
Right. Because I don't think TNT cares how many people you're drawing in Asia. They're paying for you to fill a time slot, like...
Yeah, at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, or like the 9 o'clock replays they do that do like a... I'm curious, who do you think is going to, like, realistically draw more ratings, quote-unquote? These one cards on TNT or the ESPN 2 PFL shows?
It's the PFL, I believe, and the ESPN too, because of the placement. Like nobody's watching. Yeah, you're not watching one at. I love one, and I'm not watching one at 3 a.m.
Yeah, because like no disrespect to one at all. Like what they've managed to do in 2018 and 2019 is pretty big, but like Mighty Mouse and Eddie Alvarez were not big draws in the UFC at like 10 o'clock at night. So there's no translation to like, okay, you were a draw in the UFC, you were not a draw in the UFC at 10, but now you're going to be able to draw people at 5:55 in the morning on TNT. Like there's no way.
Right.
If there was equal time slots, I think one would absolutely smelter the PFL because it has the bigger names, but like, how do you get there?
Yeah. That's crazy that like I don't know. They probably I would hope they got paid decent, but there's no way I'm signing a deal with a network and they're like, oh yeah, we got you with the prime time 3 a.m.
You're gonna be on right around the same time as the Squatty Potty, buddy.
Right.
That's your lead in the Squatty Potty, and I'm trying to think of other the Billy Mays is dead, so he's not doing any infomercials.
Jesus.
You and what's the new Billy Mays guy?
There's a new Billy Mays.
Anthony Sullivan, is that his name?
I have no idea.
Look at somebody doesn't watch enough 3 a.m. They're watching Toonami at 3 a.m. They're not watching infomercials.
I'm old and washed. I'm asleep by like 10.
That's tough, man. No wonder you guys are done like by the third fight of the UFC main card.
Oh yeah, I'm out of here. I'm super washed.
I'm not staying up to watch. Try to remember what like the last bad main event was. I'm not staying up to watch Wonder Boy against Showtime.
Yeah, catch you in the morning, bro.
Yeah, that's when you know you're getting old. That's when your days are gone.
Yeah, yes. I've just learned to accept it. I'm hitting 30 next month, and I envision it's not gonna get any better. I'm just start going to sleep earlier and earlier.
You're getting in that BBQ Fight League age range.
Yeah. I'm getting there. I'm trying to erase the dad bod, though. I'm trying to get rid of that.
There we go. Everybody's working on it. Summer's coming. We all want to look like Yoel Romero on the beach.
Yeah, we can only hope. We can only hope.
I would settle for Oleinik's body at this point. Alexi Oleinik, granddad bod.
Oh man. But before we get to fights, let's get to some news stories. There was some
doozies.
Yeah, I don't even really know where to start. Do we want to? You know what? Let's get the one that was like. They're all kind of bad, but like this one was like actually like serious.
Right, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Let's do the serious one first, and then we can laugh and make jokes. Because the rest of these stories are just like what. but if you guys didn't hear, I guess this took place over the weekend. But former UFC fighter Angela, is it Magana or Magana? I don't know how.
Magana.
Let's go. Yeah, Magana. I like how that sounds. Angela Magana. Former UFC strawweight. I think she now fights in Combates Americas. I want to say, could be wrong, but I know she still fights somewhere. But anywho, she actually ended up going into a coma that lasted for 2 days. I'm probably gonna butcher this, but she had to undergo an emergency surgery to treat something called cauda equina syndrome. Whatever that is, it's a neurological disorder that affects the spinal cord. She was in Puerto Rico, I guess, when this happened, and I think the coma was the result of the anesthesia that she took. So this, she got the anesthesia, and then she proceeded to be in a coma for 2 days. But the last I've heard, this was written as of yesterday. So this was written on 420, the article that I'm reading now. But she released a statement, so she actually did wake back up from the coma. Obviously not anywhere close to 100%, but like she's functional, awake, can speak, all that good stuff. But yeah, she just kind of reassured people like she's doing okay. She just obviously woke up from a coma, like she's really, 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 really tired. But yeah, she just pretty much said it was the surgery was actually fine. It was just a result of the anesthesia that just kind of literally put her in a coma for 2 days. But it looks like she's doing okay. So that was kind of just a wild story because I feel like when I hear people slip into a coma, it never really ends good. Right. So good to see that she pulled back from it. And just a quick note, I would have saved this for a parting shot, but since we're already on the topic, I hate, I really hate when people do the thing of, oh, so now all of a sudden we're Angela Magana fans. And it's like, listen, people, listen. I get it, like Angela was not the most likable person. Rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But there's a difference between, like, I don't like your personality and like I want you to die, because I don't want you to die.
Yeah.
Like that's, those things are so far separate. So people wishing her well, even though like they didn't or don't really like her as a person, doesn't mean they're fans. It's just like, it's simple empathy. Like, as much as I might not like you, like I don't want you to leave the earth. Like, it's not that serious.
Right. I think. No. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that it's not that serious. It's not like you did. It's not like she was around here. Yeah, she said some wild stuff. I don't remember half the things she said. I try to ignore, to be honest. But it's not like she was out here like committing crimes or just doing some real heinous, things like that. So I'm not wishing death on anybody. I would never want somebody to, especially like going out in a coma. Like that's just kind of, I don't want to see anybody go through that. So yeah, people chill out with the whole like now we're fans thing. It's like no, we don't want to see somebody die because they passed away in a coma and now she has, because I think she has like 3 kids. So now you have 3 children who no longer have a mother because they're you don't want to see that happen to anybody.
I think that like that's more self-revealing about you as a person. Like if your first response when someone's in a medically induced coma is anything but like empathy and thoughts and prayers, if you believe in thoughts and prayers like to their family or anything but like a well wish to get better, is like that's self-revealing about you as a person. Because ultimately at the end of the day, no matter what, even if she pissed you off with something she said, she's never physically done anything to you. Like if she hurt your feelings, that's no reason for you to wish that she suffers a tragic demise, because this would truly be a tragedy. Because I think everybody can relate to that fear of like, at least I know I could, when I had to go under just to get my wisdom teeth pulled. Like that was a fear. I was terrified. And so for someone to actually go into a coma from anesthesia, like that's really scary. And I think that's a fear a lot of people can relate to. So if you're like that kind of dude if you're trying to score like social media points by showing how tough you are by not caring, like that says about you, not about her.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she pulled out of it. That's great. Just a horrifying story all around. Like, because you think about how often people have to go under for like simple stuff, and it's pretty spooky now. Like, it's scary to think about. So I'm glad to hear she's out of it, and may the road to recovery be very, very good to her.
Yeah. I hope she doesn't like, because I know she, obviously still wants to fight, but, hopefully, take your time, man.
Yeah, for real. Take your time.
Like, don't rush back too quick, do anything crazy. Take your time. Definitely go hug all your kids, whenever she's able to leave the hospital. But yeah, but glad that story ended well, because it definitely could have went in another direction.
Life is precious.
It is. Now that we got the semi-sad story out the way, let's get to some jokes. These other stories we have here,
What is that?
just very random headlines. Let's start with Darren Till, just because this thumbnail picture makes me laugh. Last time we saw Darren Till, not so good things happened to him. This time he's, in the headlines again. Not for anything fight related, but Darren Till and I would assume a group of friends, associates, whatever you want to call them.
He is European, so I believe that they refer to them as lads. So a bunch of lads, I suppose.
Yeah, they went on a little adventure, stealing things that don't belong to them. And wrecking things that did not belong to them.
I believe that is how theft works. Yes, you take something that is not yours.
So apparently Till and his lads were at some.
I couldn't. I was listening to disgust in your voice for having to say lads, so I couldn't control myself. Mates? Does mates work better?
I like mates. Yeah, Till and his mates. It makes them sound so innocent though. I don't know. But Till and his mates, I like that better. They were in a lodging complex. I don't know where they were, actually. That doesn't matter. What they did is what mattered. So they were at this lodging complex, where they were reportedly were breaking furniture, and they emptied out fire extinguishers like a group of 16-year-olds. But they also did a very, this reminds me of something like that would have been in like Superbad. So apparently they were taking a taxi, and while the taxi driver is loading their bags in the back, I don't know if it was Till who did it or one of his mates, so to speak.
Now they're oh yeah, we went with mates, right? We didn't go with lads.
We're going with mates. But one of them, while this poor taxi driver who's probably just trying to have a normal day, he's in the back loading bags, and they just go up front and they just take the taxi. So that was the thing that happened. And then apparently they tried to go to another hotel. I don't know if the other hotel got notified, but they were like, nope, you and your mates got to leave. So they didn't let them stay there. But it was just a really weird story. Did he crash anywhere? It says he took control of the vehicle, drove to the area of La Caleta. I don't know where that is, but I don't know if he crashed anywhere, but he stole something. They got arrested Thursday morning in the wee hours of the morning. And there were 4 other Brits who were reportedly, who have not been named, I guess, who were also with him. So that was a thing that happened. I don't think any serious punishment will come of this, but it was just a really, really random story. And then just the thumbnail is just Darren Till with this smile on his face. Like, and the caption reads that he's been arrested, but his picture is just him smiling like, yeah, it's fine. It is what it is.
And it's either like during a weight cut or shortly thereafter, so he's like kind of gaunt looking, and it's the Canary Islands.
Oh.
According to this article, in the Canary Islands.
They were all having fun then. They were on vacation, just doing too much though. But that was a story. We also have BJ Penn in the headlines, who every time we hear his name as of late is never for anything good. This is no different. On top of a restraining order and like alleged sexual assault and just all of the other things that he's apparently been involved in. You can add threatening farmers with machetes to that list. So I'll just read this little blurb here. A public records request revealed Penn also is under an active police investigation after he allegedly threatened a taro farmer with a machete in a dispute over trespassing. In January 2018, police released an all-points bulletin stating that Penn, 40, was wanted by police. Penn was accused of first-degree terroristic threatening, a Class C felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. So apparently the case remains active because all parties involved have not been located or contacted, and it cannot be routed to the prosecutors until complete. All right, so I guess the farmers got ghosts. They got out of there.
I was about to say, you can't just check the farm.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe after the machete, they just...
You know what? To be fair, like if I was starting with the machete, I'd be out of there pretty quickly too.
Yeah, I'm probably not staying on my same farmland. We're packing up. We're getting out of here. So this was a dispute over access to his property, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, Wapio Valley, a taro farm and training facility that resides next to the alleged victim's own taro farms. But who's Levette? I don't know who Levette is. I started reading. Oh, okay. His attorney, Gary Levette, strenuously denied any violent behavior and said Penn hasn't been contacted by police. So I guess allegedly this happened, but in my mind, I feel like I could see this in my head. But we don't throw accusations here. This is how my mind works. I'm not saying he did it, but in my mind, I can picture little BJ running around with a machete, being angry. But that's allegedly a thing that happened.
So just to not to talk about the allegations. I don't think we can talk about those because they're allegations as of right now. So nobody's been charged. It's just this is something that's allegedly had happened. But on one hand, how can you let him fight with this? Just everything kind of going on. But on the other hand, now I'm kind of Like, how bad can this get if he gets pulled from this fight?
Well, if he gets pulled, I will consider that a victory for all of us.
No. Like, I totally look. There's no reason for this fight to happen, in my opinion. Like, there's just no point. But, like, I'm trying to think of like the response from everything we've heard over the past like 3 weeks, like how the response from this guy would be if he got yanked from like the one thing that he's always been like genuinely good at. So, like structurally speaking, like if you take that one piece of structure out of it, like what's going to happen then?
Yeah, then he might actually really get into some.
That's like my my concern now.
The next headline might not be alleged.
I mean, we really do hate to like make a joke out of that, but like that's like you have to at least consider it almost like a possibility. Just if all of these, not even if these are true, but like it sounds like a guy who's got a lot of chaos in his life right now, and like fighting is the one thing that's always kind of brought.
Yeah, this might be. I mean, when we say this a lot about athletes in general, like, and it's kind of another reason why I've always been a big proponent just of sports in general and like kids participating in sports, or just anybody who wants to get involved in sports. Like for some people, it is like it's literally quote unquote just a game. But there are other people who like sports is really this is the only thing that kind of is like holding them together, because outside of if they're not training or not practicing or competing, like the rest of life isn't really going too well. So they kind of need this one little piece of structure to, keep them on the path. So
yeah, like this is the bridge.
But yeah, it sucks because it's like he's, I mean, obviously we know BJ Penn is 40 years old.
Yeah.
There's only, I mean, you can really argue now he probably really shouldn't be fighting anymore, but there's only so much longer he's really going to be able to hold this up. So I don't know.
I can't remember where I read it. I don't think he's won a fight in like 9 years. I think it was the quote.
Yeah, something like that. It's been the last one was his last win, I think, was the fight I originally thought he should have retired on, was when he came
right. A welterweight.
Yeah. He knocked him out. Yeah, should have knocked him out and just coasted into the sunset. But
it's just like because you always think about that, like we all whenever I'm on here we talk about that afterlife, after the fight's over, kind of post life deal, and like I wouldn't say I'm concerned, because again these are allegations and like I don't know the guy personally, but these are serious kind of things getting thrown around with his name involved in it, and you gotta wonder like what happens when he's not training for a fight. What happens when he's not, when you're not UFC Hall of Famer BJ Penn, you're just, a guy BJ Penn.
All right. I mean, the next fight, for people who don't know, his fight against Guida, Clay Guida, is on May 11th. I mean, let's just say, there's a strong possibility that he might lose that fight. So now you're not fighting. You might be coming off yet another loss. So now you're just sitting home, maybe possibly recovering from your fight, so you maybe can't train for a little bit. And now you just got all this trouble just kind of surrounding you. Not a good.
And you're sitting there thinking like, I could have beat Clay Guida in my sleep, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It's worrisome. It's a little worrisome for me.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, BJ's got a lot going on.
Because
one can hope that the headlines just don't get worse. Like that's just a troubling sign. With just every time we see your name, like even if you didn't do any of these things, I feel like just the fact that your name is just every time we hear about you is never really anything good, is not a good sign.
Right. Like just the fact that like people should not have to worry about you. Like if they see your name pop up, like it's gonna be another spiral into another.
Right.
And because some of these other stories are genuinely pretty funny. Like the Darren Till story is hilariously stupid. It's just really dumb. And the Dan Ige story is hilariously stupid and really dumb. But this one's a little concerning because when these start piling up, you do get a little worried. And not that, look, if BJ Penn did whatever he's been alleged of doing, he's far from deserving of sympathy. You know what I mean? Like, if any of the allegations are true about the relationship with his wife or threatening dudes over farmland with machetes, which is amazingly, like, I can't even believe that. Like, if any of these are true, then he's not deserving of sympathy. But in general, these are still allegations, and you just kind of like, what happens next? Because at some point, because they could pull him from the fight like today, and I would be worried about his response to that. So,
I mean, to me, it seems like he'll probably be okay because they said these other people haven't even been located,
right.
So he might make it, to the fight. But after that, who knows? Yeah, who knows what we'll see next? But we'll keep an eye on BJ. He's got a lot going on. But on to the most bizarre story that I think I've seen in a very, very long time.
Either the best lie or the truly, like, one of the weirdest stories I've ever heard.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't heard, UFC featherweight Dan Ige, obviously a fighter, which means you have to get tested by USADA. And if you guys don't know how that works, basically USADA just kind of comes to your house at any point in time. Show up, knock, knock. Hey, piss in this cup. Whatever they do to test, whatever they do. I don't know. I don't know what
knock,
it is.
Knock, piss in this cup. They just hand you the cup. That's what you like.
Right. There's no formal greeting. Like you just know what's happening. But so I guess Dan Ige is home, chilling, relaxed. Gets a knock on the door, and I want to say this happened at a very obscure time.
5:30, 6:30, early.
Yeah. So in Ige's mind, and I guess I kind of get his train of thought. I mean, I would imagine Ige's been fighting for a decent amount of time. He's probably been tested a number of times, so you kind of know what the deal is. Like the USADA just kind of pops up, and like, all right, I got to do this annoying test real quick. So he gets the knock at the door, and he's like, all right, these are probably just USADA people, whatever. They take a blood sample. All right, whatever. They leave. Somehow he comes to the conclusion like, oh, these weren't people from USADA. Some random person just came and just like got my blood and just kind of made off with it.
Some vampires at 5:30 a.m.
Right. Like they just took my blood and just ran. And he was on Twitter like really, freaking out like, oh man, I'm gonna get cloned. Like, who are these people who just came up to my door and stole my blood and just kind of just ran? Man, but I did get updates on this story because when it first broke, the story was literally like random people took Dan Ige's blood and he didn't know who they were. And the story, that was just it. Like, nobody knows what the blood was for. We don't know if Ige is getting cloned. We don't know what's going on. So apparently, I did a little digging into this because this was just too bizarre not to really look into. So Ige said he assumed that the lady who took the blood worked for USADA, but when she called him the wrong name after taking several vials of blood, he soon discovered that she was at the wrong house. So basically the confusion about this situation, for one, this USADA spokesman person, his name is Adam Woolard. Dan Ige's complaint was that the USADA people, I guess, don't always introduce themselves, or they don't wear like distinguishing gear that says like, hey, I'm USADA. Like they don't have like a USADA t-shirt or something like that. Spokesperson said otherwise. He says, quote unquote, they always wear USADA branded gear and identify themselves. So that was some kind of mix up. And I want to say the lady, where is it at? The lady did have a purpose. She actually wasn't just some random person. I'm trying to find the point in the article. I can't find it. But the lady who took his blood, she was actually there from some organization. It was an elderly person that she was supposed to be. Oh, here we go. With some time to reflect, Ige calmed down about the situation. He also got to the bottom of the situation. He said, according to his neighbor, the woman who took his blood was an employee of a new testing company called Lab Express. She was there for an elderly gentleman in the building. So I guess this lady, I don't know if she had the wrong address, but she apparently just came to the wrong house. Ige thought she was somebody who she wasn't, and she made off with his blood. But he has since calmed down about the situation, so I guess everything is okay. Do they just give you your
I would
blood
like
back?
to
How does that
assume.
work?
I'd like to assume that they did that. I'm now, like, as you're talking, I'm imagining some, like, vampire Ponzi scheme where the dude's, like, pretending to be from some drug testing company collecting blood, and then he's just selling it to his vampire buddies, like, at a markup. So here's kind of the thing on this. Like, uh, there's a guy on Twitter and Sherdog, and I'm sure he bounces around other places, called Dimspace, who's pretty, like, up to date on the USADA stuff. And his argument was that he didn't want to say Dan Ige was lying, so much as he was saying that Dan Ige might have maybe, like, juiced the story a little bit. But Ige, according to Dimspace, USADA has to which actually makes sense. They have to give you some form of identification so you know they're with USADA, and perhaps more importantly, check to make sure you're the right person. And apparently this person did not do that. So the argument that USADA would have made that mistake, like, I find that a little hard to believe. As for USADA wearing a uniform, I actually went back and watched a Conor McGregor clip where he gets drug tested in his gym. And I did not see any, I'll put it this way, I saw somebody dressed like they were a part of some organization. Like,
But they had no.
like, I didn't see any sort of logo, but, like, you could tell, though, by the way they were dressed and by the way they were handling things, that they were absolutely from some reputable org. If he didn't say from USADA, it could have been from, like, the Nevada State Athletic Commission. But they
He just looked implied.
yeah, it was a lady. You know, it was a lady, and she looked like she was there from a drug testing facility. Like, you could just kind of get the vibe. You know what I mean? As for whether or not she, like, had any sort of emblem or marking on her, some sort of rite of passage deal, I didn't see anything on her outfit that said she was from USADA. Then again, she may have shown identification off camera. So I don't know if they all wear a uniform. It would make sense. But then again, how many people are in USADA times how far? Like, not everybody. There's always that one dude who's out of the dress code at work. You know, so
Right.
it could have been some rogue dude, like, on his 500th trip. You know, just like, yeah, whatever. Like, they're gonna know it's me. I'm gonna wear a shirt or whatever. And
Maybe he was, tired of collecting
yeah,
blood.
like,
Or really, it was a she. So she was tired of collecting blood. She's like, yeah, I'm putting in my 2 weeks.
it's
Whatever.
6:30 a.m. You know what I mean? Like, 6:30 a.m.
Right. He's half awake.
Yeah,
I'm half awake.
Who's
He won't
gonna
even
notice,
realize what I'm
right?
wearing.
Like, who's gonna notice? Oh shit, it's the wrong guy's blood. That said, and this was my bone of contention with the Theanticool and just in general, anybody who's trying to take my blood needs to provide some proof of identification, proof of that they work for this organization that they claim to work for. I want to speak to your supervisor. Like, what's your mother's maiden name? Where do you live? Do you have any pets? Like, because if you're taking my blood, I need to know you on a personal level now. So while I understand Ige was just like, it's probably USADA. Like, if you're gonna take blood from me, I need to have a better idea of like, I need proof that you work for this organization. So and Ige is an MMA manager, so he has to be a little bit more careful, even granting him the fact that it was really early in the morning. So I don't like. To me, this sounds like a case where everybody's kind of lying a little bit. Like, I don't want to use the term lying, but embellishing a little bit. Like, I highly doubt that every single employee wears a USADA, like, emblem right in the middle of their chest so that you know that it's them. I doubt Dan Ige. I doubt his blood was stolen. You know what I mean? Like, and also apparently in the story, like, the first time they say your name wrong, like, we stop right now. Like, take this out of my arm. Because you apparently are not here for me. I do think it makes sense. I do think it's true that USADA probably have to check the identification of everybody they're drug testing. Because realistically speaking, like, what USADA guy is going to be like, oh yeah, you're just a random guy. Are you Uriah Hall? Like, and it could be anybody. Like, you have to have some sort of, like, can I see your driver's license? Can I see something to prove that you're Uriah Hall? Like, you think that would make sense. You're going to be there anyways. Just a weird story. Like, because it's like, Ige messed up. The lady messed up. I guess if you believe that this is a common mistake, USADA messed up. Although Dan Ige, by the way, true professional, true smart man, never once said a bad thing about USADA in the entire process. Was very polite about this. Was like, yeah, it's basically my fault, but still, it's kind of weird. True company, man, to the fullest. Just a weird, like, crazy story.
Well, if Ige did spice up the story, I'm not mad. It gave me
No, like,
something
I'm totally cool with it. Ige, put it this way, he made it clear, like, if it was like, fuck USADA, they just, because of USADA, some random guy took my blood. Like, he was very, very careful to make it kind of, like, funny. Like, once he kind of calmed down about it, he took some humor out of it. And yeah, I guess somebody's going to go clone Dan Ige now.
There we go.
Could think of word.
So there'll be a lightweight Dan Ige in the UFC within about the next year or two. They'll send him to another gym across the country. that's gonna be a thing.
Who's gonna program him though? Like now I'm trying to. I'm just trying to think of like what Dr. Robotnik level mad scientist wants to clone Dan Ige. Because it's like of all the guys you could get, if all the guys you could steal blood from, like he's probably the number 179 on your list.
We gotta start somewhere. Gotta start.
Evil
somewhere.
Dan Ige.
I hope he did.
As you said earlier, evil Dan Ige.
There we go. We got evil Dan Ige. It's like, regular Ryu, evil Ryu.
See, but here's the problem. Dan Ige fucked this up because he's got a beard, and the evil one always has like the facial hair. So we need like clean-shaven Dan Ige to be the evil Dan Ige.
There we go. I'm glad he did spice up the story though, because in my mind, I went in a Hollywood mode, and I just picture like some unsuspecting old lady like knocks at his door, and then she just like stabs him in the neck with a spoon.
Runs off.
She just runs. She just gets out of there.
That's the worst.
He wakes up like 5 minutes later, like what just happened?
Dude, like that's horrifying because like I'm thinking back, there was like a legitimate in New York City. There was like a weird fad in like the late 90s, early 2000s where dudes were stabbing each other with needles on trains. So now I'm thinking back to like my childhood where I was horrified to take like the 6 train for a few weeks. But and again, I don't know if Dan Ige lied. I don't think he lied. I think this definitely happened in some respect, but it wasn't an MMA mistake. It was just like a Dan Ige at 6 a.m. Why wouldn't they become a that?
Yeah, I mean it's early in the morning. You're probably like still like discombobulated. You're wiping cold out your eye. You don't really.
Yeah.
You're probably not even really all
Somebody's
the way there.
woken you up.
Yeah.
Although I'm just trying to think because whenever somebody comes to the door to give you anything, like they ask for your name, right? And then you got to like sign your name. And so did she look at the signature and look at the name on the top of the form and like, oh, that's not like, I'm trying to like how far into the process? Apparently she got blood and then she called them by the wrong name, but like nobody at the door was like, hey, I'm here to like, because I guess what could have happened, she could have said like, hey, I'm here to take your blood. And he was just kind of like, sure, like you're from X, right? I would have just felt horrible because like when guys get blood tested or they get the USADA test, they like do the snarky tweet. Not the snarky tweet, but like the happy tweet where they're like, just drug tested, 100% clean, USADA, clean sport. And like if a USADA guy was like, we need to talk,
right?
Excuse me.
Oh,
you get that DM with the uh-oh.
Who did she say she was? Yeah, she we don't have anybody by that name who works
We
there.
need Blade on the case. He'll figure this out.
Oh man. There we go. That's the synopsis for whatever his next movie is.
Wesley Snipes hunts down evil Dan Ige.
Oh man, that's the next phase of Marvel where like all the movies tank.
I put Dan Ige in the Avengers. Fuck it, seems like a nice guy.
There we go. See, so something good can come out of anything.
But
oh man, but yeah, those were the stories.
Talk about like the highest of the high and the lowest of the lows. We had to, a very very serious medical condition or a medical situation with Angela Magana, BJ Penn with a machete. Drunken Darren Till, and we finish up with vampires robbing Dan Ige of his blood.
Oh man, yeah, slow news week, guys.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, not a lot going on, but we had to find a way to make life somewhat interesting. I've got to get to fights, which
boy.
you know.
Well, let me while you
there was,
gather yourself, you want me to do the lead in here?
Well,
it's just gonna be simple. So this card in general.
Well, I was gonna say before
ahead.
we get there,
Okay.
let's start with Rizin and.
Oh yes. Well, I did not
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
Rizin,
yeah.
so it's gonna be up to you to carry the torch.
Oh, it's fine. I didn't really watch it either outside of clips, so I'll just read off results because I love Rizin, and this was a card that happened, but I was asleep well by the time it happened, and then I think when I woke up, the Horiguchi fight had just ended, and I don't really care much to watch King Mo and Jiri Prochazka, so I just did not tune in. But anywho,
blunt honesty.
Rizin.
Well, it's a holy day. You can't lie on a holy day.
Rizin 15, that went down very, 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 very early this morning. It seemed like a good card, but like I said, I only saw like GIF highlights, so I can't really go in depth on any of these performances because I didn't really watch any of them. But just a few of the notable fights. I'll just ramble through these real quick. Jiri Prochazka defeated King Mo via third round TKO. I think this makes him the champ now, I want to say. I think that was for the light heavyweight belt. Co-main event, Koji Horiguchi versus Ben Nguyen, former UFC flyweight. Horiguchi starched him in the first round, got a TKO. Horiguchi has now won like 12 straight. I don't know. Since the UFC, the man has done nothing but win. He's done nothing but win. Post UFC life has treated him very well, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch that fight. Roberto Satoshi defeated Satoru Kataoka via second round TKO. Reina Kubota fought Samantha Jean-Francois. She won via unanimous decision. Just going to skip around a little bit. Mikuru Asakura defeated Luis Gustavo via unanimous decision. Damian Brown, I think this was his Rizin debut. I could be wrong, but Damian Brown defeated Koji Takeda via unanimous decision. Kana Watanabe defeated Justinia, I'm saying that right, Haba via unanimous decision. Manel Cape was also on the card. He defeated Sechiro Ito via second round TKO. Kanako Murata defeated Saray Orsko, if I'm saying that right, via Von Flue choke. Shout out to the Von Flue choke. And moving down, there were some kickboxing fights on this card. Most of note, Tenshin Nasukawa folded Fritz Biaktan via third round TKO. The GIF highlight I saw, he kneed him in the body, and that was the thing, and then he died.
Wait, excuse me?
Yeah, that was, Tenshin just doing Tenshin things. One of these highlights, which one was it? I feel like I skipped somebody. Roberto, what was his name? Oh no, the Roberto, which one of these TKOs I want you guys to go back and watch. No, I can't find it. Just go back and watch the whole card. One of these one of these finishes was pretty nasty. Somebody got hands put on him. I just can't remember who it was. But I mean, like I said, I can't really go in depth because I didn't watch any of these. Just saw highlights and gifs and things like that. But you guys know how Rizin cards are. They're fun. They're Rizin. I don't really know how else to describe them. But I'm just happy that Koji Horiguchi is still just out here winning. Life is treating him great, and I'm a fan, so I'm glad Horiguchi won. I heard the King Mo fight and Jiri wasn't all that great, but it is what it is. But that was Rizin 15. And then in boxing news, Terence Crawford fought last night against Amir Khan. This fight was something. This was one of those fights that I think we kind of all knew how this was going to go, so we were just watching to see how long it was going to last, because I don't think any of us thought this was going 12 rounds. In my mind, I was like, this probably doesn't go past round 8. Unfortunately, this fight ended in via controversial matter. I mean, for most of the fight, Crawford, it wasn't super crazy exciting. I thought Khan was doing okay at moments. He seemed pretty fast. Once Crawford got his timing down, it was kind of a wrap. He rocked Khan in the first. Thought he was going to be out of there real quick, but Khan recovered pretty good. He got his wits back about him. And every round from then was just kind of Crawford just really technically sound, really defensively sound. And then once he, like I said, once he kind of got Khan's timing down, we all knew what time it was. He was countering really well. He started blasting Khan with right hands. You could clearly see that one of these gentlemen hits much harder than the other. So, it was just kind of one of those fights where we were just kind of waiting for Khan, like, all right, how long is he going to last? So eventually he's probably going to get knocked out. But it ended in the 6th, not in the way any of us really wanted. Crawford caught Khan with an accidental low blow. He was trying to go to the body. Now, listen, I'm not the guy to go on here and call anybody punk or say that they're trying to run or say that they're, I don't like to do that. And another thing, it is a nut shot, and I am a man, so I sympathize with, anybody getting punched in the nuts. It's not a pleasant feeling. And then, you're a professional boxer, so you're getting hit in the nuts by somebody who punches people for a living. So that's just, that just makes it extra, extra just
A little more paprika.
But yeah. But the ending of this confused me. So kind of like MMA, kind of the same in boxing. Like when you get hit below the belt, you're supposed to get time to recover. Your 5 minutes or whatever. So I was still confused about how this kind of ended because Amir definitely didn't get 5 minutes. He got like 1.5, maybe 2. And then they were in the corner. There was some jibber jabber going back and forth. Just I don't know what was going on. And then eventually the fight just got called off. Speculation. I'm not gonna say one way or another. If it wasn't Khan who won it out, his corner might have won it out because I think we all kind of knew where this fight was heading had it continued. Unfortunately for Khan and his corner, you don't win belts off of low blow finishes. That is not how this works. I think the way the rules work is you just go to the judges' scorecards and whatever the fight was scored up to that point, that's how it goes. Well, really, they just ended it in the TKO anyway. So I don't know. It was just a really anticlimactic way to end what was actually an ESPN pay-per-view. Shout outs to everybody who paid $70. I hope you feel good about yourself for what you just did. Yeah. Very anticlimactic finish. Crawford looked good.
Yeah.
He looked good. That's pretty much all we can ask for. I don't know how much closer this puts us to Crawford and Spence. There was some talk afterwards with is it Arum?
Yeah, Bob Arum.
Yeah, Arum did his old man spiel about
old man.
This. I'm not like the most knowledgeable boxing fan, but this just kind of I don't know. It feels like chitter chatter, just he say she say talk, where like Bob Arum gets on the mic and is like, oh, his people don't want to make the fight because they're scared that Terence Crawford will win and blah blah blah. It's like, can we just fight, please? Can we not? Let's not do this. I don't want to hear that. But yeah, it ended the way it ended. It kind of is what it is. Elsewhere on the card, Teofimo Lopez defeated Edis Totley, if I'm saying that right, via 5th round TKO. Shakur Stevenson defeated Christopher Diaz via unanimous decision. And Felix Verdejo defeated Brian Vasquez, unanimous decision. That was a ESPN pay-per-view. If you drop $70 on that, I don't know what to tell you. Albeit you can't predict that a card is going to end like that, but you got to feel pretty hurt that you didn't even get to see Crawford, like, knock him out. Like, the fight just got stopped off a low blow, and you should feel cheated. I would feel cheated. But Crawford won, so that's good. And hopefully him and Spence at some point will get to fight, because I've just been waiting for that for a long time. But congrats to Terence Crawford regardless.
Yep.
A win is a win. That's all people remember. So
yeah. So I did not see this card. I was at as I told you, I was at a deer fundraiser. So we were doing some deer fundraising, just trying to raise money to prevent the deer population from decreasing in my area. But I was getting the ESPN notifications, and I got home and I watched Danny Garcia against Adrian Granados, which was on Fox. Somebody on Fox paid money for that fight. So you're not the biggest loser if you paid for Con Crawford, because your investment was $70 and theirs was like $3 million. But so I watched that for free. I had it on DVR. I figured that would just be a better way to waste my time, because I got in after the Teofimo Lopez fight. So I knew like the main event was either just about to start or started already, and it just didn't make sense to go through the whole process or whatever. But my phone started going crazy. And I was like, oh, I guess Crawford knocked him out, because that makes sense. But he dropped him. And then my phone started going crazy again, and I assumed that was like now it's over. And the finish was like covered in great detail. And I saw a GIF of it, and then someone uploaded a clip of it in full. And I don't think Amir Khan wanted out. I think Virgil Hunter wanted a Hail Mary. Because like, because I was also following on social media, like Khan's legs were gone, he was getting killed to the body, he was just having like a miserable human experience, and like that's like a freebie, like you could maybe get away with it, like hey, he got hit low. I'm pretty sure Khan couldn't continue. Apparently, from what I've heard, it was from what I saw, it looked pretty bad. Not like the worst I've ever seen, but pretty bad. And they were just like, hey, maybe we can squeeze this one out, and didn't quite work out the way they wanted to. Poor Bob Arum is cut this promo in a shower of booze, in a river of booze from this crowd, which, by the way, I heard booed Terence Crawford. So if you saw that and can confirm that, I'd appreciate it. Let me know at the Sports Soundoff. Just a bad night. A bad night overall, because from what I've heard, Shakur Stevenson looked impressive but wasn't fun. Teofimo Lopez looked a little bit more toned down compared to his usual style and his usual self. And the main event, the $70 fight, was, which it's unfortunate. But hey, what are you gonna do? They got your money, so that was the key. And it's like part of the problem with these fights, like Mikey Garcia against Errol Spence and Bud Crawford against Amir Khan, is like they're being sold to you on the basis of the idea that these guys are going to suddenly unify, or just in the case of Bud, like I have no belief that Errol Spence is going to fight Keith Thurman or Sean Porter or any of those guys. So it's just kind of like fights with no ending to no goal, just to keep fighting. So it was a bad night for ESPN. Their first UFC pay-per-view, people can't order it, and the first boxing pay-per-view that people order, a dude gets nut-shotted, and that's the end of the night. So can't always plan them out the way you think you can.
Life has its own plan sometimes, and we just kind of gotta.
And Bob Arum is talking about like how like top Al Heyman will never work with. They work together on like the highest grossing fight ever in the history of ever. Like Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, was those two guys like working together. So like, I don't necessarily understand why all the beef is on Al Heyman there, but
it's just old man banter.
Old man banter, yeah, I would agree. Well, Bob can't yell about the UFC anymore. They're on the same network. They like hang out together, so he's got to like find new targets. He's bitching about Eddie Hearn. He's bitching about Al Heyman.
Listen, if you can't scream at the kids on the lawn, you scream at the neighbor. Somebody's got to feel the wrath.
Somebody's playing their music too loud somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. But that was those are the other fights that went down this weekend. Like I said, the Rizin card didn't get to watch, but I'll just say go back and watch it because it's Rizin. Most of their cards are pretty fun, and you can watch the Terence Crawford fight, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything.
Yeah, because like let's be fair, if you bought this fight, you probably bought it for the dramatic. Like, you were pretty sure Amir Khan, because Amir Khan gets flattened when he loses. Like, he loses bad. So you probably bought it thinking you were going to get another Canelo Khan, and instead you got Johnny Cage. The Johnny Cage level.
Yeah, that's all you got. That's what the combat gods gave you, and you just have to accept it.
They took your money.
Yeah, they robbed you. It's fine.
You and Dan Ige can compare losses now. 6 pints of blood versus $70.
Yeah. A lot of food you could have bought with that.
So what's up?
I was saying that's $70. That could have been a good meal you could have bought.
Yeah, you could have gotten a new video game. You could have gone to the movies. You could have seen the Avengers Endgame maybe.
Yeah, if your tickets aren't sold out.
If you can find a theater somewhere, you could sit on the roof.
There you go. I'm glad I got mine. I will be going.
See, I'm a different kind of guy. I'm not a comic book dude, so that movie is nothing to me. So I probably would have spent my $70 on Crawford Con. You would have won. I think, in fairness, like 2 tickets to the Avengers plus popcorn and a couple drinks probably tops like the Johnny Cage finish. So you want to get into this the main event?
Yeah. Let's talk about some Russian fights.
You want me to do this? You want me to get us in here, get us rolling? Then you can do the fights.
Sure,
you know, you just had to run through a whole boxing card. You probably need to catch you probably need to have a mental reset, a timeout. Yeah, basically, there you go. So this card took place in St. Petersburg, Russia. I will not even begin to pronounce the arena it took place in. And early card, these UFC Russia cards are often, these European cards, Asian cards are very early. This took place on ESPN 2 at first. The prelims were on ESPN 2. Then it moved to a 1 o'clock p.m. main card. In an interesting twist, the UFC lost the fight and did not replace it on the main card. They just went with 5 fights, which I thought was pretty interesting. They clearly did that because they were not going to rob ESPN of a fight, so they had to do something. The best way to compare this card for me is a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie you watch at like 3 p.m. on a Saturday. It was an event that, like, you were watching it, so you were kind of invested, and there was good enough action that you weren't gonna change the channel. But you knew for a fact, like, as soon as this movie's over, you're not gonna remember anything about it. You're not gonna remember it. It's in your body and then out. It's like bad takeout, in and then out. It's good at the moment, and then it's gonna come out later. It was in, and then it happened, and then you just moved on. Like, this was not a card, like, there was nothing memorable, but there was nothing offensive either. So it was just kind of like a solid event that exceeded expectations, but that because the expectations were so low. Because realistically speaking, Sensei, I was just curious, I wanted to ask you about this. How many of the guys did you know on the main card?
Let's see. Off of first glance, I remembered, well, obviously main event. Obviously know those. I was looking forward to Makhachev. I wouldn't say I was looking forward to Modafferi Shevchenko, but at the same time, I guess I wanted to see how it played out. And, like, I know Jotko, but I don't, and then, like, Sergey Pavlovich, like, I saw his name, and I was like, I've seen him before, I think. Right. Like, his name's somewhat familiar, but I couldn't point him out.
Yeah, like, the point of this isn't to shame anybody who didn't know anybody on the main card. Like, the point of it is just that this was an event where you couldn't really even have expectations because you didn't really know anybody. Like, I knew of Sergey Pavlovich, I knew of Islam Makhachev, I knew of the main eventers, I knew of Jotko, and I have a decent understanding I knew who Modafferi was and a decent understanding of who Antonina Shevchenko was. But, like, the undercard was just names you've never heard of, plus guys who you want to forget about. And so you kind of go into that real low bar, like, just don't waste my afternoon and my morning. And to their credit, it was a solid event up to those expectations. But no, if you missed this card, you probably didn't miss much, and it's nothing to, like... It's not going to be like Israel Adesanya, Kelvin Gastelum, where you missed it, like, you're going to hurt. It was just a decent night of fights that, if you didn't see it live, you survived.
Yeah, unless you're, like, a hardcore fan of somebody on this card, there's not, like I said, it was an event for the moment it happened. I had to watch this while I was at work because I work Saturday morning, so I couldn't really. I watched some of this in real time. I think this card probably did benefit that it came on early in the morning. Like, this is a good way. Like, you start your day off with this. It was just kind of something that happened, and now that it's over, like, all right, I can enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, I bet if this takes place at 8 o'clock, there's probably some bitterness.
Oh,
right, because not that it was bad, but it's just like there is an expectation almost relative to time slot. So if you're going at 8 o'clock to like 10 o'clock, like there's an expectation that this has to be worth my time. This it was like, what else am I going to do at 11:30 on Saturday?
To put it simply, and I think we've said this about other cards, this was one of those cards that like there were good fights, but none of these fights. I mean, and this doesn't apply to the fighters. They're making money off of this. This is their livelihood. I'm speaking strictly from a fan's perspective. Right. None of these fights really like meant.
Yeah, like it's a perfect way. Like again, like an action movie, like Jean-Claude Van Damme. You're watching like Bloodsport 6, and it's like,
right,
he's an old man, and because they're old guys in the main event, so you got to make the comp. And it's just like it's a good card for what it is. Don't overthink it. Move on. There's another one next week. That's how I view some of these. Like it happened. It was fine. We're gonna do something else now.
Going into that main event of this card, Alistair Overeem versus Alexei Oleinik. And by the way, listeners, if you don't know, this main event might be the only two names we pronounce right on this entire card.
Yeah, I'm not liking our accuracy. Like, it's a shame Theanticool's not here because he's like Mr. Name Butcherer. Like he embraces that, and we're just gonna cringe through each of these. Like, no,
we're gonna try, but it's
because we don't want Khabib coming to our house scolding us. Like, we don't want the low bob treatment.
Listen, Khabib, you can't tell me that for the first time you saw Michelle. Whatever his last name is, you can't tell me you pronounced that right on the first
Michel.
try. There we go. But, the main event of this card, Alistair Overeem, Alexei Oleinik. I'm always interested in every Overeem fight because he's just one of those guys that I'm like, you should win this, but Jesus, there is a chance that you just somehow might lose, and I have to see how this is gonna. Like, I really want you to win, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, this can go wrong. Somehow, some way, it can go wrong. I actually watched this fight in the parking lot at my job. It was on right as I clocked out, so I just sat in my car. I just stayed in my parking spot until it was over. Luckily, I envisioned that this fight was not gonna last long. I was like, either Overeem's gonna knock him out early, or Overeem is gonna do something stupid and get caught in a submission somehow, and now I'm just gonna drive with my head hanging low. So I was confident this was not going to go 5 rounds. And lucky for me, it did not. This was definitely an Overeem fight. Moments of him looking great, and then other moments where it's like, don't do that. But, the fight pretty much, they came out, got in close quarters immediately. When Alexei pulled guard, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Either something great's going to happen or something stupid's going to happen. Because if you guys don't know, Alexei is a submission specialist. The man just land chokes from everywhere. So you can never really be too safe with him. But Overeem got out of that first, that first little part. He got out of it. So I'm like, all right, cool. They stand back up. And then, not even 20 to 30 seconds later, I'm questioning why Oleinik is landing overhand rights on Overeem, who's like an elite level striker. Like, why is this 40-year-old, and looks and moves every bit of a 40-year-old heavyweight? Why is he hitting Overeem with these just really slow overhand rights? But I mean, props to Oleinik. He caught Overeem with an overhand right. I don't think it super rocked him, but I think it was enough to just kind of just startle him a bit. And he just kind of rushed him. And I thought he had a good game plan. Obviously, you're not going to stand and trade with Overeem. That's probably not going to end too well for you, which it ended up not ending too well. But, he would club him with an overhand right. He would kind of rush him. Some of the shots that he was landing against the cage, Overeem did his little turtle shell defense, which I hate, but whatever. I guess it works for him. A lot of the shots were kind of hitting his elbow, but the body shots were landing. I thought Oleinik did a good job of landing those. And this weird process repeated where it's overhand right, chase you to the fence, body shot, clinch, body shot. And I'm like, all right, Overeem, eventually you can get out of this, right? We're not going to do this old man chase you around the octagon, because this has to stop, because you'll find a way to lose. But nah, Overeem, man, for much as he may make mistakes and he may lose fights that he should win, Overeem at his best, man. He has some of the most violent knees and I've ever seen in my life. His knees are they're terrifying. Like, so Oleinik has this stretch where like he's doing okay, he's the aggressor, he's not landing anything too crazy, but like clearly he's the one doing like all of the damage because Overeem isn't the most. He's not out here just winging 1,000 punches around. But Overeem out of nowhere, just kind of, Alexi tries to rush in and he just catches him with a knee to like the body. I'm like, okay, Overeem's he's awake now. He knows what's going on. And then from then, every time they clinch, I'm always amazed at like how high Overeem gets his knee up.
Yeah.
Like, the final sequence where he catches Oleinik with like 3 knees, he gets his knee up to like Oleinik's like temple.
From like tremendous angles too, like that. Those were not straight up the middle either. Like I saw him go around the guard, and it was perfect.
Right. They're coming around and just hitting you like right on the side of the head. And it's just, if you look at just the force that Overeem just lands knees, like they just look really just painful. He caught Oleinik with I think he caught him with a knee to the body, but eventually the trio of knees that just kind of ended it, they clinched. He caught him at like 3 knees to the side of the head, and poor Oleinik just kind of drops. But then it becomes another Overeem moment. Like, so he knees Oleinik. We're all 100% sure, like, oh, this is over, because the way Oleinik just fell over, like he could not.
I thought, like, I don't know if you saw it. Did you think, like, at first that he fractured his orbital? Because I thought he was like grabbing at his eye.
Yeah, he was kind of turtled up.
So I was like, oh, he must have caught him like on the edge.
Yeah, because he was just kind of covering his face, like he knew it probably hurt extremely bad, and he probably was in a lot of pain, and then he just kind of turtled up, like, all right, I'm done. So Overeem, you would think, knee, old man falls over, we just throw ground and pound, let's get out of here. Overeem does this weird, like, I want to hit you, but I kind of don't want to hit you. Like, I don't know if he felt bad that he like, I don't know. He just has this moment of hesitation, like, Overeem, if you don't punch this man and get out of here before you lose somehow. But eventually, he lands some ground and pound, and, it's over. Ref stops it. We've seen enough, and Overeem gets the win. Yeah, Overeem fights are always fun for the wrong reasons, because like, you never know what he's going to do or not going to do that could possibly lead to him losing. But all in all, I'll say that to say, I've said this, I know Overeem's career has had some ups, some downs. It's gone in every direction possible. I think when he is at his best, he is like literally one of the most talented heavyweights I've ever seen. He has a very well-rounded game. His knees are just devastating. He's an underrated grappler. He has a very complete skill set. It just doesn't always come together. But in this case, he weathered an early storm, so to speak, used what he was good at, used the knees, and got Alexi out of there.
So yeah, like everything there was 100% accurate. But when you were describing this to me, I thought of a story. We're going to do a wrestling story for a second, but just like, go with me here. I'm reminded of like, there's an old Ric Flair story where he went to the Dominican Republic for a title defense, just for like a filler title defense, against a guy named Jack Veneno, who was super, super, super popular in the Dominican Republic. And when Flair got there, the crowd was like agitated. And then the longer they got to the buildup of the title match, he was like, oh shit, like there's going to be a riot if I win. So on his own, he told Jack Veneno, he's like, hey, listen, you're going to win the belt tonight. And then we're just going to pretend this night never happened. So Veneno wins the title against Ric Flair because Ric Flair was afraid he would die in a riot. So now that I'm thinking about it in my head, it's like when Overeem dropped Oleinik, it was almost like he was like, can you like wake up? Because now I'm a little
right.
Like he was concerned that if he won, there would be a problem. But so yeah, like that was Overeem's Ric Flair moment. First time ever Overeem will be compared to Ric Flair in his life. There's something about these really great BJJ practitioners that they can. Damian Maia, in the first round of every Damian Maia fight where he doesn't sub a guy, he has a lot of success striking. And I think it's because you're so afraid to be in tight quarters with that guy that they can get you from distance, because there's no reason on any earth that Alexi Oleinik should be landing clean on Alistair Overeem, but he was. And I don't know if you saw it, but he threw like a standing hammer fist against the fence, and it missed by like 3 feet. It was like there's no reason he should be caught clean. And Overeem gets a lot of flack for his chin, but that was a clean shot right to the lips because it came from such a funky angle, and he had his arms down, and he ate it flush. So I knew he was hurt then. I watched this fight twice, one time with commentary, one time without, and I kind of realized that he was not as hurt as I think Dan Hardy and Paul Felder and company might have thought. Because after that first shot, he turtles up, which is the worst. I wish I could have seen that fight with Theanticool because I know he hates it too when he does that. But Overeem turtled up, and it was like, I think you can hit Overeem to the body 100 times and he'll be fine. I don't think he has an off switch there. Could be wrong. But, he turtled up, and then he would circle out, and his eyes were completely clear. He wasn't that hurt afterwards. And I think he just gets comfortable when he's blitzed. He gets comfortable falling back and turtling up. And I think after a while, he was like, okay, I'm going to have to get this guy off of me. And I can't figure out why. I can't figure out how. And so now Overeem goes to the body with knees, and there's success. And now he realized, okay, the knee's going to be the way. If he takes me down, so what? But he's crashing so hard and coming forward so heavily that I'm going to either knee him when he gets in close, or when he ties me up, I'm stronger than him. Because Overeem was definitely the stronger of the two guys. I'm stronger than him, I'll control him, and I'll just knee him until he can't take it anymore. So they clinch, there's knees, there's a separation, clinch, knee, separation, knee into the knee to the body that kind of backed Oleinik off, I think gave Overeem the confidence to be a little bit more aggressive. He knees him around the guard, gets his knee at a crazy angle to find the sweet spot, and drops him. And then I swear to God, I don't know if he thought, I can sub him, or if he was like, Herb, can you stop it now so I don't have to do anything anymore? Or what happened there? But it was almost like he stopped. And it was like Paul Felder and Dan Hardy are like, they're afraid he's going to get submitted somehow. And Paul Felder's like, he's got to open up. And I think it took 2 elbows for it to be officially done. Because I thought that the way Oleinik fell, I thought he had fractured his orbital. Because he grabbed that his eye area. And so I'm like, yeah, we don't need to see any more of this. But Overeem was, I guess he almost wanted to get out of the second round. Maybe wanted to get to the second round or whatever. But one of the weirder finishes I've ever seen. And
yeah, paused in the hesitation of a win. And boy, oh boy, if somehow this fight would have lasted till the second round, and Alexi somehow lands a Ezekiel choke or something crazy. Oh boy, this could have went another direction.
And I do think Overeem's confidence when he got out of that first one was I wonder if getting out of the first Ezekiel choke, he kind of was yeah, now I can win. He tried it, he couldn't get it. Now he's got nothing for me. And then he got tagged, and that was kind of a reset moment for him. And there was another moment where he tried the Ezekiel choke against the fence, which was insane and absolutely ridiculous. But kudos to Alexi Oleinik for even giving it a shot. So, so matchmake. Who do you think Overeem should face next?
Lord, who's available? Nope, can't do Volkov because apparently he's a shot of
someone else took his blood.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it's either that or a medical condition, which, I told people before, when USADA stops announcing why guys are getting flagged, you're gonna have dudes just randomly disappearing, so you've lost the transparency. So, that was my gripe.
What are the other? God, heavyweight is just so weird. What are the other heavyweights out there who aren't doing anything to?
I feel like a better question is who can he fight that he hasn't fought before?
Yeah, because
Blades is out, Ngannou's out, JDS, he's fought those 3 guys. Stipe, he fought.
That's the thing. The Volkov fight would have been perfect in terms of a name, a rank, and somebody who he hasn't fought. But I don't know. Do we really want to see Overeem and Walt Harris?
I personally no. Personally, not for me.
Yeah, I do. I don't know. Do Overeem Abdurakhimov?
Is he still in the UFC? I don't even know if he's still in the UFC anymore.
On the
Shamil.
undercard.
I thought you were talking about Musa.
Yeah, Shamil.
Hell yeah, dude. I love Shamil Abdurakhimov. Give him any fight. Give him every main event. Derek Lewis would have made a ton of sense, but Lewis is hurt.
Yeah, options are, and for a guy like Overeem, like he might win some, lose some, but he is one of those guys that I feel like every time he does fight, he always fights somebody normally with a name. But the heavyweight is just so weird that it's just the best availability is available.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but like, hey, let's be realistically honest. This is not a super deep division where like you're far away. He's got 2 wins, both by finishes. He's like 1 more away from a title shot. Because you know what, DC versus Overeem is actually kind of interesting, I think.
Oh, this just made me think. Do they?
No, I don't think.
Not Overeem DC. I actually would be interested in that, but I just had a bad thought in my head. Do they try to bring Kane back?
Kane versus Overeem. I mean, damn, that fight was the fight in 2013. Like no, like honestly, seriously, like if you think about it, they were so building up to get Kane versus Overeem, and then the drug test happened, and then Overeem gets starched by Bigfoot, and then Kane is hurt a million times, and then. So, damn, there's really not much for him to do. He's done, like, unless you want to go rematch territory. But even so, like, JDS is fighting Ngannou, so those guys are out. Do you do Curtis Blades again? Those guys train together now, so I don't think that's even possible.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name?
Jeez.
Ivanov? Do you try Blagoy?
You could. He's hold on. Did he win that?
Yeah,
he beat Rothwell.
He won in quotes against Ben Rothwell. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a little underwhelming, but you could do that fight in like somewhere in Europe. That's the Dutch guy against Ivanov is he's not Russian. No. Yeah. He's not Russian. Let me look this up. I don't want to throw out. I think it's the Ukraine, but I don't want to.
Yeah. He's. I forgot where he's from.
Bulgaria. I guess that's the best. That's really
yeah.
kind of the best you can do with him, unless you're just gonna be like, fuck it, fight DC.
Which I'm honestly not opposed to that either. It's heavyweight, so I at heavyweight I'm very lenient on like who deserve title shots. Like I kind of don't really care, to be honest.
And it's not like Overeem is a guy who gets taken down a lot either, so it's kind of intriguing.
Yeah. See if he can catch DC with a knee. But I think DC is trying to gun for that Lesnar fight if that's still going to be a thing, and then he's going to lose.
Or Stipe. He'll fight Stipe or whatever, and then he'll be the new Dana. He'll go to the smaller shows and be the Dana.
But that was Overeem Oleinik. Good, great knees from Overeem. It was an Overeem fight. It was weird. It was moments where it's like, oh God, he's doing this again, and then eventually he
right. And just real quick, because he's not here, and I know he likes to take shots at this division. You have to admit that the heavyweight division, when they're in like the main event slot, we really do get like at least compelling stuff. I'm just saying, like, if you think about like JDS Lewis and this fight, like you do get compelling fights out of the heavyweights that are not Verdum fights. Because I think Verdum is like the one guy who really does kind of drag things down.
He's banned.
Yeah, he's gonna do some pro wrestling. We might finally get the Kane Verdum 2 in Mexico. I'm cool with it.
You guys keep that one. But that was the main event. Moving on to the co-main event and the lightweight division, Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan.
Got it. 2 for 2.
There we go. 2 for 2. Gonna mess up the next one, but that's fine. As you made fun of me before we started recording, a lot of these fights will be described as just a lot of wrestling happened.
This is good wrestling, though.
Yeah, this was entertaining wrestling. It was good. I wasn't really too familiar with Tsarukyan. Like, I feel like I've seen him before, but I wasn't 100% sure. But either who, it was an entertaining kind of just back and forth. A lot of wrestling, a lot of scrambling. Because, I mean, like, fights like this can go one of two ways. You get two guys who are, like, actually skilled and they make it, like, fun to watch, or you get it where one guy's really good, the other guy's like subpar, and it just ends up with somebody laying on top of somebody and nothing really happens. But like these two were really like lots of scrambles. I love that little foot sweep that Makhachev kept landing over and over. Yeah, that was really cool. Not really a ton in terms of like damage that was dealt out. I just felt like I think Makhachev was able to keep his pace more, and I think like as it got later into the fight that he was kind of just able to keep executing. But it was a nice competitive kind of just back and forth, grappling, wrestling, a few strikes here and there, but nothing really too crazy. I mean, to be honest, I think if Sarukian at any point in this fight could have landed at least even just like one really significant shot to maybe like where he like rocked him or something crazy, this fight could have went another direction. Because neither guy really like rocked each other or did anything too crazy, but just good fun lightweight wrestling, I guess. Not really a ton to really else say about this fight.
Yeah, somehow this was fight of the night, which I think it was a good enough fight to, I feel like that sums up the card, that a pretty good fight was the fight of the night. It wasn't like anything super dramatic. If you like wrestling, if you like high-level wrestling, this was a lot of fun. I think there's something to be said for those wrestling kind of grappling fights where one guy just doesn't concede, where you don't see like a closed guard and we're just going to stay here for a little bit. I think that's fun when you see two guys who are actively trying to either chase submission or position for ground and pound, and there's always activity. I think that separates these kind of fights. And this fight had so much activity in it. And Arman Tsarukyan, they made a big deal about how Islam Makhachev had never been taken down. And Arman Tsarukyan was able to, I don't think he took him down, but I think he was able to at least get as close as possible that they were going to give it to him. It felt like more scrambles than anything else. Theanticool would have probably had all kinds of super high-tech, like, wrestling technology. Wrestling terminology for people to get excited about. This, to me, was just a good fight. It felt like going into this that they kind of just wanted almost like a showcase for Islam Makhachev. And it turned out to be a really good fight for that style. Like, if you're a striking fan, this probably is not going to do anything for you. But there was some real high-level grappling on display. Arman Tsarukyan's like body lock takedowns and the way he would transition from body lock to chaining takedowns together and just kind of that high-level step 1, step 2, step 3 kind of stuff was really fun. If you like grappling, and wrestling, it was a hell of a fight for you. And
if not, this might not be your cup of tea. But like you said, like just we're lucky this fight did not end up just a lay and pray fest. Like it wasn't anything.
Yeah, and like to me, those aren't the worst fights. Are the ones where it's two guys against the cage, just like trading hand positioning, and we did not get that. Yeah. So thanks to them, a big salute to those guys for always being active and having some fun scrambles. And I am bummed that this was not the Islam Makhachev against Francisco Trinaldo fight we were supposed to get. So it was a little disappointing there.
Man, lightweight is, jeez.
Shark Tank division.
Yeah. Just good luck to everybody at 155. Just night in and night out, those would just be phone calls. I just don't. Like,
imagine being a guy like Jim Miller, though. That phone rings, like you're just like, yeah, I'll take that fight, and it's like against the worst people for you to be.
Right.
The worst possible matchups for you over and over and over again.
You just got to know that after this fight is over, even if I win, I'm going to be in so much pain next month.
Like, you don't want to laugh about that, but yeah, or like every time the phone rings at 3 a.m., it's like, hey, a dude fell out. You want it? And it's like, who am I fighting? Oh, him? Yeah, I guess so. Poor Jim Miller. And,
but
yeah.
Good one from Makhachev. Like I said, at lightweight, it never gets easier. But good on both of them just being able to keep up that pace with this much like just wrestling and transitions, and because one of them easily could have just completely just gassed and tired out, but neither one of them was trying to give the other one too much.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, but I also think Tsarukyan took this fight on short notice, so that's even more impressive that he was able to keep this insane pace while he's fighting this back and forth grapple heavy style. Like, that was really impressive to me.
I feel like after, well, you know what? I won't.
No, go ahead. No, go. You got to do it. You got to do it.
I was gonna say, I feel like after this fight, this is when this card gets I don't know the word.
A lot of recaps you're about to get. A lot of coming attractions. You know.
Yeah.
We'll be brief. We won't waste your time.
Right. But congrats to Makachev. He won a unanimous decision. Moving on, once again in the heavyweight division, Sergey Pavlovich, if I said that right, against Marcelo Gome. I appreciate heavyweight fights that just like don't waste time. Like we're two heavy gentlemen. We can both throw leather. Let's just punch until one of us cannot punch anymore. Neither of these two gentlemen wasted any time. Like fight starts, we're throwing hands, we're throwing hooks, people are getting hit. Unfortunately for Gome, he got hit one too many times. I think it was a right hand that like initially caught him.
I thought so too, yeah.
And then he got backed up, ate a flurry against the cage, ate an uppercut that just kind of, you know, there's something about an uppercut that just when it catches you clean, it's just like, yeah, you're out of here. It was a quick 1 round heavyweight. Let's just throw punches. I mean, Sergey did look good though. You know, good hands for heavyweights. Even when they get KOs, can sometimes look really sloppy looking for lack of a better term. I thought he looked pretty good. Hands look good. But not really much else to say. I mean, the fight lasted a minute and like 6 seconds. Just hands got thrown. Marcelo got hit with an overhand right, got backed up, got flurried, got uppercut. Game over.
Best way to put it.
That's pretty much what happened.
So I can admit off the bat that I was quite confused here. I made a mistake. I totally thought Marcelo Gome was Junior Albini. So like going into it. So the fight, like I'm not watching the fight. I did not see the intros. I did not see the pre-fight video package. So when they get in the cage, I'm just like, that's not the guy with the tiny head. That's the other guy, like, because they had debuted like pretty much back to back. So I'm like, oh, I thought this was gonna be Junior Albini. So I had a whole bunch of like head-related puns set up, and because Junior Albini has a small head, Sergey Pavlovich has a massive head. Like he's in the Big Head Hall of Fame, and so I was kind of like, oh, it's gonna be like a perfect head joke thing we could just waste time on. Pavlovich looked great. I thought he looked great. I thought he came out a little bit more aggressively than he did against Overeem, which is
where I knew him from.
Which is probably due to the significant dip in competition. I think we can agree. We can admit.
Yeah.
Marcelo Gome in his past few fights was not aggressive. This time he was perhaps overly aggressive. But I also think that he looked at him and was like, I can't beat this guy in the clinch. That's where I'm losing my fights. I have to win. Like, he's longer than me. He probably hits harder than me. I got to get inside, and we have to just throw, and I'm going to hope I get him. And he did pretty well until he got caught with that right hand, and it kind of caught him at a funky angle, and then he flopped over to the cage. And that uppercut was, like, full torque, thrown with great intention, just lands perfectly. And that's your fight. That's your 1:06, guys.
I don't know. That aggressive Sergey might have beat Overeem.
I mean, I would say like, that's never going to happen, but then again, I just saw Alexei Oleinik.
Right.
Alexei Oleinik. I don't know, what do we call it when old people flurry? Like, it's got to have a name. I just saw him riding lawnmower.
Right. I don't know what that was.
I just saw him, I saw him standing hammer fist over him, so anything's possible.
Man.
Oh boy, you get the next one.
Yeah. But congrats to Sergey though, awesome KO, and I appreciate good. Heavyweight can be tiresome at times, but I appreciate when I get the good one, so I always have to give just due recognition. So great on both of them for just giving an entertaining fight. I greatly appreciated that. When I see heavyweight fights on cards, I get worried.
If you're not gonna be fast, be violent.
There you go. Speaking of I wouldn't call this violent, but. Moving on to the next fight, women's flyweight, Roxanne Modafferi, Antonina Shevchenko. You know what? To be honest, the way this fight played out, I don't think I could have really been too surprised. Antonina, obviously sister of Valentina, so we know what she's about. High level kickboxing. I think she's still relatively new to MMA.
Yeah,
She's could be wrong.
She's pretty green.
Yeah. So you pretty much know what this fight is gonna be. Either Antonina is gonna be able to keep it standing and just kind of light Modafferi up from the feet, or Modafferi is gonna be able to clinch, just find a way to stifle Shevchenko's offense, and maybe get a submission win or just kind of grind out a decision. I mean, first round I thought Antonina looked pretty good. She for a few minutes she was able to keep Modafferi at bay at distance. She caught her with a couple of nice straights, kicks. I did like that she at least for a little bit before she did eventually start getting taken down. She would catch Modafferi like a 1-2, and instead of backing up like straight to the cage, she did a good job of like angling out or circling around so she wouldn't get caught in any bad spot. So I thought she did a good job of that. And I mean, clearly you saw on the feet, just in terms of just power, technique, when they were trading, Antonina was definitely the better of the two. I don't think that was really a contest, but Modafferi, I thought, stuck to pretty much the only game plan that would work. It didn't look the best. There were times I was afraid that she was gonna get knocked out, because pretty much her strategy was I'm just gonna rush you and not let you get too comfortable and just take you down. But like I felt like her. Somebody on commentary said it, that herky jerky kind of this motion she does. It doesn't really look like really fluid. At times, I feel like her head was just kind of there to be hit, but she just does these weird, jerky feints. It's really hard to describe, but I mean, it worked. Like, she would eat a few shots, she would throw a few, and she did land a few, and she would just kind of herky jerk her way in, and just clinch on the cage, push the back to the cage, take you down, work ground and pound. And I mean, that was pretty much the fight. Like, when it was at bay, when it was at distance, Shevchenko would get the better of it, but Modafferi eventually just herky jerk, takedown. And it sucked for Shevchenko because I want to say Modafferi had like 100% takedown rate. Like, she was like 5 of 5. So anytime she got close, like, it was almost guaranteed, like, I'm going to get you down at some point. I want to say I could be thinking of another fight. I think Shevchenko did have like a sweep at one point on the ground. Like, she showed she was like at least somewhat competent, but she got just taken down too many times, and then like it was too easy. Like, Modafferi didn't really have to, once she ate her shots that she just needed to eat and herky jerked her way in, she just kind of she got the takedown she wanted and got the ground and pound. Was not the most exciting, but like I said, I kind of expected this fight to look like this, so I guess I wasn't really too, I wasn't really bummed out. I wasn't like, oh, this is boring. I kind of figured this was what was gonna happen. So I'm not mad. Modafferi won a split decision. She did what any smart fighter would do. This is the one game plan that I'm not gonna snake with her in the feet because I'm gonna lose. So I need to just take her to the ground and where she can't hit me and knee me and kick me and do all those things. It was just, it was, she did what worked. I'm not going to fault you for that.
Yeah, there's like two ways you can take Roxanne Modafferi. The first way is the positive way, and that's that this is a woman who was cut from the UFC after one fight. There are tons of fighters who get cut. We never hear from them again, or they languish on the regional circuit. But she actually went and reinvented herself and developed a striking style that's like, I cringe to call it a style, but that's kind of what it is, right? She reinvented herself. She reinvented how she fought. She deserves a lot of credit for that. She found a new weight class that was more suitable for her. She went back to the UFC through tough, earned it the hard way, and now she's kind of like a pretty competent 125er. That's the positive route. Like, the negative route, though, is just like she's so... how do we put it? Like, unathletic and just awkward to look at, like, fighting wise, and she moves like a mattress. like like a mattress going down a hill. It's only gonna go in one direction. So just like she's very weird, like to watch fight. But I agree with what you said. Everything about the fight itself. This was probably a case of too soon for Antonina Shevchenko. I think they looked at Roxanne Modafferi and were like, "There's only one way she can win," and like Antonina could win in a multitude of ways or whatever. And it didn't play out the way they thought it would. Because there was one moment in the first round where I was like, "This is probably the turning point one way or another." Antonina Shevchenko throws a perfect head kick and it bonks Modafferi, and she just walked right through it and continued to pressure. And for me, that was like, okay, you don't have something to keep her off of you. You better be able to grapple. And so I think to Shevchenko's credit, she was not awful, like on the ground. She just was not at the level of Roxanne Modafferi. So when people get tired, like in my belief, in my opinion, when people get tired, that's when it favors the grappler. And so that third round, I was just like, two tired women. I think Modafferi is going to steal this one. And sure enough, she took it, you know. And as I was telling you off the air, and I know this is going to hurt some feelings and this is going to draw some cringes, but Roxanne Modafferi now has a story to a title shot. Because she beat, I'm just saying, she beat Antonina Shevchenko. That's Valentina's sister. And there's nobody else at 125 who has like any sort of actual story now. So it's like, hey, if it gets close, like, if it's close, like, they could be like, hey, Valentina can get revenge for her sister. And you could get 5 rounds of Shevchenko versus Modafferi too.
Boy, if she herky jerks her way to a title,
I would quit watching.
that would be
my checkout,
amazing. Oh no, I'm watching.
Man,
like what if she puts on a masterful 5-round herky jerk? Just it just works. It shouldn't, because Valentina.
Because
just
Valentina Shevchenko can go 20 minutes without throwing her hands at any single point in time. So yeah, Modafferi could just like. I use this for bigger guys. She can just muck her way to the title, like just kind of like throw yourself into her repeatedly, and I don't know, man. I to me that would be that's a tough ask. That's a tough ask for me as a fan. Pay $59.99 for that.
Oh man, can you imagine the UFC even attempting to try to promote?
It's like I was gonna make a joke, but like it's like Roxanne Modafferi, like for all of my complaints about her like fan base, she's probably one of the nicest human beings ever. So I even feel bad like joking about that, like just that fight in general, because it's like watch like the Russian assassin take on the cat lady from your apartment building. It's just like it's an unfair comparison. Roxanne is such a nice person though. Like I would not want to see that fight. There's no reason to do it, but like Joanne Calderwood is like, it's like Joanne Calderwood.
There's Jessica Joanne, and then
Caitlin Chikagian maybe.
Yeah,
but Caitlin's fighting Joanne, so one of those people are going to get pushed to the back. Roxanne is one fight away, in my opinion.
Hey Roxanne, if you get a title shot, I'm rooting.
Would you?
I like chaos. I like things that just don't make sense. Things that should only happen in parallel
So
universes.
You're rooting for Thanos, then? Is that what you're talking
about? Yeah, right. I want chaos. I want to see Dana White's face when he has to put the belt around Modafferi. He's like, what? He probably would. He's handing it to. He's going to the booth and giving it to Cormier. he's
I'm just imagining poor Sean Shelby's got to walk in there and do it because Dana's just outside the cage with like, this mortified look on his face.
I just want to see what do they even try to like? What angle do they try to promote Modafferi as? Like she's just the everyday woman.
I mean, you could probably do that, like They'll
butcher it still.
I mean, but like, well, I mean, there's just nothing you could really do there. But there's something like if you were like really creative, you could kind of do it like Michael Bisping's title run, where it's like this person has grinded throughout years and years of setbacks and getting knocked back, and then finally won the belt. Like you could do something like that.
And that is actually true to Modafferi's credit. Like she was doing this back when it wasn't really.
My first Roxanne Modafferi memory was the Sarah Kaufman fight, where I had watched some Sarah Kaufman footage and I was like, wow, she's kind of unlikable. Like I didn't kind of get it. And then I remember watching that fight and rooting for Roxanne Modafferi, and then she got slam KO'd. So I was like, okay, well, I'm never going to hear this woman again. And then she showed up on Tough, and she got slam KO'd in Tough. And I'm like, all right, well, we're never going to have to deal with this problem again unless I watch Invicta. And now here she is, like 10 years later, grinding in the UFC, close to a title fight potentially. And you got to respect that. You got to take some, you got to tip your hat.
Yeah, because she was one of those people that was like, I mean, somebody who fought like Shayna Baszler and like Tara LaRosa back in the day. And this was back when MMA in general wasn't really like the thing to do back then, not like it is now. Women's MMA was even like, you had to be doing it because you just actually loved it. Because there was nothing, nobody was getting $1 million paydays. There weren't really a lot of financial incentives for, other than you just really love to do it.
And if you were like an elite high level, no doubt, no question about it, women's mixed martial artist, your peak, unless you were like on the Elite XC cards, your peak was like Strikeforce challengers. Like there was like no high level mark. And so kudos to Roxanne for getting to this point.
And I didn't even notice there was a point in her career where she easily could have called it quits. Between 2010 and 2013, she was on a 6 fight losing streak. I mean, like, easily could have just been like, hey,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you like, there are two ways to view it. Like, as a critic, like, it's just hard to watch for me as a critic. But from a personal standpoint, like, you have to admire the determination, the work put in, the fact that she kind of reinvented herself. Just the effort level it took to go from like a 6 fight losing streak, as you said, to, hey, I'm potentially a few fights away from fighting for the title again. So I have a respect for Roxanne Modafferi.
Yeah. Where's Nico Montano?
Close.
I just saw her name on.
I came close. I was gonna say something, but
we'll
retired.
She's
retired.
Yeah. Nico's probably got enough.
Dude, like if you think about it, man, like it's a bummer we still haven't seen Nico Montano, Aldo Montoya. Yeah. We haven't seen Nico in a while, and that's a bummer. She was supposed to fight she's still like technically, if we're gonna be honest, she's like the uncrowned champion because she never lost.
I don't think we're gonna see her.
You don't think so?
I mean, I don't know. If we do, I feel like they're gonna give her the most unfavorable matchup that they can, and they're just gonna try to like shoo her out. Like, she comes back for a comeback fight, and it's like, hey, you want to fight?
Here's Joanne.
Yeah, here you go. Have fun.
I feel bad for her.
I
feel bad for her. But... like, what's the way I want to put it?
Because it was like I feel like her even becoming champ was a setup anyway, because we all knew like, all right, she's gonna win this belt, but eventually she's either gonna have to fight,
Joanna or Valentina.
Yeah, and it's like, they were setting you up to get slaughtered anyway, and it just became a messy, just kind of like.
Yeah, she's supposed to fight Sajara Eubanks. Eubanks can't make weight. Then she has to fight Roxanne on short notice, on 24 hours notice, and then she's supposed to fight Valentina like 3 different times. They can never get the date right. Then they set her up. She shows up. She can't even like make the weight after she openly complained about Valentina not potentially being able to make the weight. And so it's just like that. And then like it's real hard to get into the UFC's good graces. It's real easy to fall out of it. And I felt like that time where they had to pull that title fight, she was done. So
she fell out,
and she's never going to get back into that small circle. So I feel for her. But we got way more. You know what? We got way more out of that than
we should have.
I didn't say that. Roxanne Modafferi's an interesting character. She even looks like a throwback, like with the knee pads and like the high ankle wraps.
She's straight out of like 2004.
For sure. Like if you were making like a comedy character for UFC Undisputed or whatever, like that's what it would look like.
Yeah.
So,
but congrats to Roxanne, man. She got her win, and like you said, not far fetched. She gets like another win. She's in like title contention because this division is still like building, so there isn't the infrastructure is still like being made. So this is the time to get in for your title shots, like while it's this kind of thin, because eventually.
While Valentina Shevchenko is basically like sleepwalking through her.
Right.
So
hopefully you just catch her on an off day.
So which could be any day. So did you listen to the commentary on this?
I did, but
no, I'm just asking. I had it muted because I had this fight muted for a particular reason. How bad was Valentina at cage side?
Oh man, she was. What round? I think it was like the second round where Roxanne started like she was landing takedowns like earlier in the rounds. Oh boy, she was. I mean, I didn't understand a word she was saying, but she did not sound. She did not sound happy. There was just a lot of. I don't even know if she was saying words. Like I just heard a lot of really loud just noises and yells.
Well, because the last time Antonina fought, like she made me lower the volume because she was doing the A gimmick over and over. So I.
Oh, she wasn't. Well, there wasn't a lot to A.
You know what, Roxanne Modafferi, you're my new favorite fighter. You stop that.
She wasn't A-ing. She was angry. She was not happy.
I cannot imagine Valentina Shevchenko angry is a good sound.
But congrats to Roxanne though. She got a split decision win.
I don't think I ever want a woman with a gun tattooed to the side of her body ever yelling at me, especially in a language I don't understand.
Right.
Oh boy.
But rounding out the main card, Krzysztof Jotko versus Alan Amedovski. Oh, there we go. Something like that.
We almost did the main card with no mistakes.
Was this Alan's debut?
Yeah,
I feel like it was Alan's debut. Yeah.
So I mean, also
tough outing. Yeah, this was one of those fights where it's like your debut's against Jotko. I mean, Jotko's not like a world killer, but he has experience. He's fought decent competition. Probably not the easiest fight to make for a debut. They mentioned in the commentary that because Jotko, his streak as of late has MMA has not been treating him kind. He went to a sports psychologist. Got the mental game all I guess figured out. And I guess it worked. Got him a win. Like we said, a lot of these fights will be described as just a lot of wrestling. Pretty much what this was. Just Jotko was just able to take him down over and over. Just kind of just more experience, more well-rounded. A guy coming in and making his debut against a pretty like solid middleweight. Probably just wasn't ready for. I mean, I don't know who Allen's fought in his past, but I'd imagine this is probably a pretty big jump up in competition. He probably just really wasn't ready for this level of competition. Just kind of got taken down. He got the second round though. I thought they were gonna stop it. Jotko had him in. He blooded him up in a second. He took him down. He beat him up. He had him in a crucifix. He was landing elbows and punches, and poor Allen was just trying to squirm his way out of there, and he just kept getting hit over and over. He got punished in the last probably like 2 rounds of the fight. He got beat up a little bit, but good performance from Jotko. I think it was just a good win, just to get yourself back in the win column, get your confidence up. Bloody the guy up, so he probably feels good about that. But good on Jotko. Got the mental game is a big part of fighting. So I guess whatever that sports psychologist told him worked. So, I'm good to see him get a win again. Not a crazy fight. I don't know if it really means anything other than Jotko saves his job, which I guess for him that's great.
We hope because his contract's up. He made that a point. I don't have anything actually, the only thing I have to add to that is in the first round, Krzysztof Jotko hit Alan Amedovski with one of the hardest spinning back fists I've ever seen. And Amedovski walked through it. So I was like, all right, he's probably not going to finish him. And then with Krzysztof Jotko, it's just a matter of, like, how long can this fight go before you make a mistake that gets you finished? And to his credit, he just grounded him out, and I thought the fight should have been stopped in the second round. I didn't think we need to see a third round, but full respect to Jotko. I wish him luck. If we had more time, I'd ask about, like, we could like sports psychologists. Like I'd love to know what they really do. Like especially for mixed martial artists. Like I'd really love to know.
Well, the brief part that they mentioned is really brief. It was like a little 10-second back and forth, but they said that basically, what was it? Jocko.
Was it the Robbie Lawler comment? Okay,
yeah. Like he wants to fight like Robbie Lawler, and I guess the sports psychologist is like, well, that's not really, that's not like your thing. Not as in like he can't, he not a skill set thing, but like just mentality wise, like Robbie Lawler's a killer. Like that's a different kind of. He's a different kind of human. They don't make a lot of Robbie Lawlers in the world. There aren't a lot of guys like him just walking around. So that's not his thing. It's like fight, I guess closer to
whatever you think Christoph Jotko is.
Yeah. Right. Whoever you are as a person, whatever your center is, that's what you should fight like. Don't go out there and try to be Robbie when you're not. That's not your temperament. That's not really who you are. I mean, I guess it worked. I don't. Gotta win.
Oh no, for
so
sure.
I can't say it was. Yeah, I can't say it was bad advice.
Because I know. The hell's his name? Donald Cerrone. He went to a sports psychologist, and the sports psychologist's advice was like, do your walkout before the event, so that you don't have nerves, like you've done it before. And so I'm always interested in like what sports psychologists do specifically for like mixed martial artists, because it is a very interesting story. So, be good.
Donald. Cerrone definitely came out on his side. Like I said, I don't know if it was more the psychologist or just Cerrone having the kid, but I call him Final Form Cerrone now. This Final Form Dad Cerrone. Because ever since he had that kid, this man has...
It's when you have a newborn kid, you haven't quite embraced the dad bod yet. You're just like, you could still pull it off. Kind of, he's having the last run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it.
For sure. I'm making no jokes about sports psychology. I really would love to know like what they do for each, especially for mixed martial arts in general.
I imagine it's something you can't really, and this is me, armchair psychologist. I imagine you can't really make it so much of I'm like dissecting your skill set as more of just I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like maybe you don't get them to think about it in terms of like wins and losses. Like you just try to. I don't know. I feel like fighters probably, sometimes you just need somebody to kind of reel them back in.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. I would guess that would be a big focus of a psychologist. Like you've gone too far outside of yourself. You might be just really overthinking this. Let's just really get back to the basics and just kind of reel you back in, have your Zen moment, just kind of.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because think about it, like if you're a sports psychologist and you have a baseball guy, you've never played baseball professionally, but you've probably thrown a baseball before. Like if you played football, you've probably never played football professionally, but you've caught a pass or you've thrown a football around before. It's like, could you imagine a sports psychologist having to give advice on how to stuff a takedown? Like, it's almost impossible.
Right.
So I would definitely love to, just to hear, what kind of advice they give. Because it's working so far. Oh. Most of the people who seem to be doing this are successful.
Yeah, that'll be my homework while I'm off.
There you go.
Go look up some sports psychologists, see what...
And Cool's homework. When he listens to this, I want him to do it. Because he missed class. When you miss class, they give you the homework. So now he's got leftover homework.
We might need one of those for the BBQ League. After you lose your family, you're definitely
sports psychologist.
You're definitely gonna need one.
Oh, man.
But that was the main card. Pretty solid main card. Not like I said. A lot of this card was. It didn't mean too much in terms of rankings and huge fights and storylines, but they were decent fights that were just entertaining while they lasted. It was just,
even Roxanne Modafferi, Antonina Shevchenko had some stuff that you could kind of parse through. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Now we begin with the wrestling.
All right, so I warned you guys the entire ESPN2 portion of this card.
Did you know this was on ESPN2 at first or no?
I had heard that wasn't this all supposed to be? Wasn't it confusion? Wasn't this not originally on ESPN2?
I thought so. I thought it wasn't on ESPN2. I know next week was supposed to be on ESPN and they moved it, but this one I was like, they're showing this on ESPN2.
Oh, okay. Maybe I think about it because next week's card got moved to ESPN Plus.
But then again, like I don't know if you guys talked about this on the Prague card where they had ESPN2 prelims, but like the lead-in was competitive rock climbing. Like ESPN has nothing on at 10:30, so like what else are you gonna show? But like, hey, here's some live fights.
Right. Yeah. You know what? Quick story about the ESPN2 portion. I was at work while this was on. I was on my lunch break, and it hit me like, oh man, the fights are on. Let me try to like catch this real quick for like the last like 10 minutes of my lunch break. And I go to the TV, and I don't know if like we didn't pay the bill or like we just didn't have a good signal, but I could not get any channels. So,
no channel.
And real. But you know what? I'll say.
No, let's do it right now.
Now I have a part. No, I have a parting shot now. I just need to not be old and forget it. I'll
remind you.
I don't like ESPN Plus.
Oh, you don't? I like it.
I do, but they got me angry yesterday.
We might have the same complaint. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll go back to that. But for the ESPN2 portion of this card, to be honest, we probably won't spend a ton on a lot of these fights. I mean, for one, a lot of these ended early. There were a decent amount of finishes, and then the other ones were just kind of not a lot really worth of substance to really go on. But anywho, at featherweight, we had this is where the names get fun too. At featherweight, Mavsar Evloev against Sung Woo Choi. Now I could be wrong. I think these guys are like both young prospects. Because I was looking at the names and wondering why they were like the feature.
I think Evloev is a big time prospect, and I think Choi is a guy they brought in to fight a big time prospect.
Okay, all right. Oh yeah, that's kind of how it. So I want to say like the story of this fight, Evloev, at least from what I saw, talented, high pace, can wrestle. Sung Woo Choi didn't look like he really wanted any parts on the ground. He was, trying to stand and bang, but did not work out well for him. I feel like Evloev just kind of overwhelmed him eventually with his grappling. Like Woo Choi he landed a couple of decent strikes early, but eventually he just got overwhelmed. Evloev was just always in his face. Take down, put him against the cage, all that good business. The look, does look pretty talented, but featherweight to me is kind of like a mini lightweight, as to where I can't really. I'm not so quick to get super hype on prospects because like killers are everywhere in this division. I don't know how far you're really gonna go. I mean, wrestling is a great base to have. That'll probably get you some places, but it's not gonna get any easier from here. I mean, but for a first fight, I mean, he neutralized Woo Choi for the most part. Just kept a really high pace, just kind of grappled him and just beat him up.
Basically, pacing was great from Evloev. I thought he was able to do some good stuff when he was striking. I wish I could have seen more of that. A lot of chain wrestling, a lot of takedowns, a lot of hold you against the fence, a lot of wrestling, as you would say. I do think Evloev, by the way, I could be wrong here, but I believe he's actually a bantamweight. So he was taking this fight, I guess, a weight class above, or maybe he's dabbled at bantamweight, but he decided to move up. Like, I don't have the exact 100% answer there. So, either way, bantamweight or featherweight, you're not taking easy competition. So I'm curious to see more of him. I just was not the most impressive fight.
Yeah, I think maybe had he got a finish, I'd be a little more like enthused.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of one of those like solid debut.
Very safe.
And
safe
I'll watch
fight.
I'll watch your next fight, but my expectations aren't too crazy. But I mean, solid win nonetheless. So congrats to Evloev. He got unanimous decision across the board. Moving on to the one fight on this card that I did not rewatch. Sultan Aliyev versus Keita Nakamura. From the very small bit I remember of this fight, it was just kind of a quote-unquote kickboxing match, a few good strikes. Now, I don't really remember this in a ton of detail. It was cool, I guess. I don't really know what else to say.
Yeah,
I mean, Aliyev, he won, I guess you would say, pretty handedly. It wasn't a bad fight, but it just wasn't great. But congrats to Sultan, he won, and then he he retired afterwards. So
Good for him.
yeah, good for him.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add here. This was just a very. I thought it started really fun. I thought the first round was really entertaining, and then it was just kind of like, we're two wrestlers trying to punch, and when that happens, it gets a little loopy. But yeah, it was a filler prelim fight. Enjoy your retirement, Sultan Aliyev, and that's about it. That's all I got.
There you go. So congrats to him. Best of luck in the post-fight life. Moving on down to lightweight, Alexander Yakovlev. What?
Yeah, you got it.
Yakovlev versus Alex De Silva. I feel like they spelled his name two different ways. All right, whatever. According to Wikipedia, it is Alex De Silva Coelho. I felt like on the broadcast it wasn't that. I don't know. I might be confusing him. Anywho, my first thought in this fight was Yakovlev's body looks weird. He's one of those guys that like he's like 90% torso. He just looks
like
weird.
one of those.
His body is.
What are they called? Airheads, like one of those all white airheads. Just very long.
Yeah, his body shape is just kind of weird. But anyway, this was another fight where there was a lot of wrestling and grappling, and I mean I wasn't really familiar with either of them, so I don't know if like this is both of their games.
Yakovlev, yes. Alex De Silva, they were talking like he was a big kickboxing guy, and apparently he's got like a really puffy record. I think he's 23 and he had 20 fights, 20 wins. So he had like a really puffed up kind of fighting randos record. And it showed here because for a kickboxer, he sure seemed happy to do some grappling.
Yeah, and maybe I probably shouldn't even admit this. This is probably me stereotyping. Just the way he looked, he gave me the kickboxing vibe. So like he gave me the I'm a bastard dude. He gave me the kickboxing vibe. So I was surprised that like he would strike just for a little bit, but like he was really content to just kind of, all right, I guess we're grappling, so this is just a thing. Like we're just gonna grapple, we're gonna have exchanges, we're gonna sweep, we're gonna do that whole thing. And that's kind of like what happened. I was surprised that this fight didn't take place on the feet as much. I mean, because he had opportunities, I think, where he could have just gotten up and we just, let's hash this out on the feet a little bit. But he was content to just continuously go to the ground. I think he tried like a head arm triangle choke the first round. I think where this fight turned was in the second, where Alexander he gave him that nice slam. And after that, for Alex, for De Silva, it went all downhill. Like he got slammed. Yakovlev got better of that positioning, and then so he slams him, like they scramble for a little bit. Alex goes to push Yakovlev back against the cage. He kind of just leaves his head, just kind of. I was worried that he stayed down there for way too long. Like his head was just kind of in between Yakovlev's legs, and I was like, all right, dude, like you should probably move or just.
And then he was tapping.
Yeah. Like. He just hung out there too long, got his neck yanked up, and yeah, he ended up getting guillotined because he just.
It was a lunch money choke. It's like you see like on the schoolyard. Like he put him in a. You know what it reminded me of? Do you remember when Matt Hughes submitted? I think it was RDA or.
No.
Ada. Yeah,
Almeida.
he just had him in like a front headlock, and Matt Hughes swears like, no, that's just a wrestling move, dude. Like that's not a submission.
No, he big brother. that was a big brother, little brother choke out.
I wonder how consistent this is with like this fight, where it's like if the kickboxer gets a little bit of success on the ground, he becomes overconfident. Like he forgets that there's danger there.
Yeah, I think he thought because he had went for like that head arm triangle choke, he's like, well, next time if I can just get him,
right.
Like, I'll get this next time.
And again, UFC debut, octagon jitters, etc., etc. Like those do exist. Fighters who are in their second fight in 2019 are 26-6. So there absolutely is some like comfort with your next UFC fight. So maybe we'll see a better version of De Silva in his second fight. I want to see Alexander Yakovlev against Tyron Woodley in a freestyle contest since they're both rappers, and I think that we need to set that up.
I didn't know that was
Yakovlev's a rapper, dude.
I am afraid to type in the Yakovlev mixtape to see what I'm gonna get.
So are you saying on principle alone it can't be better than what is it? I'll whoop your ass.
No, it definitely could. I actually tried to listen to that album. I got probably about 3 to 4 songs in. And I was like, you know what, Woodley? I'm
so where does Woodley's album rank in the pantheon of Woodley? We're gonna have to rank these. Woodley, Shaq, John Cena, Randy Savage, and that one Andre Feely rap album.
See, I didn't hear Feely, so I can't judge him.
So we got 4 then.
All right. Well, first of all, Shaq is at the top of that hierarchy.
I would agree.
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh no, wait. I don't know. Actually. I don't know if I would put Shaq above Savage, but go on. Go on.
Hey, Shaq had Can't Stop the Rain. That was
all right, I'll give you Shaq. Shaq could be number 1.
Yeah, Woodley. Thing is, like, I made it through Macho Man's album. I didn't even make it through it. I couldn't make it. Like, I just got disappointed. I just gave up. So I think off of principle, he has to be somewhere near the bottom.
Worse than Cena?
Sorry.
Woodley versus Cena rap albums?
They're like the 1A, 1B.
Nice. I'm trying to think who else did a rap album.
But you know what, though? At that point, Cena would probably get the edge. Because at that point, I have to nitpick and see like what little things make which album better. Cena did at least work with like legit producers and had legit like features of people who do actually rap. Woodley didn't even. I don't think he had that. I think it was just like Woodley and friends.
Who did G and a G? Which Gracie was that? Do you remember?
That was an album.
No, it was a song, but we could put it in there just for the like. Who did that? I can't remember.
G and a G.
This is Anticool's territory. I think he knows that one.
God. Quick shout outs to the Technical Foul Podcast, the site that I post my UFC write ups on. They manage to do segments every week of athletes who like do music. And I just didn't realize that there were so many. Like some of them I knew, but like some of them I had no idea Oscar De La Hoya did an album. Did not know that was a thing. Yes. Is
it like a Spanish ballad opera?
It was. I want to say it wasn't bad. I can't remember. I gotta find the episode that he did.
Now I want to see.
But
this
they find these very just obscure. I mean, some of them aren't obscure. Some of them I do know, but like the Oscar De La Hoya, I had no idea he did any music. And that was Relic Gracie.
There we go.
That's it. I didn't know this was a thing. Hold on, are they doing jujitsu in the music video? What is going on?
We've lost it forever.
Oh boy.
See, my favorite, if like just to get this out here, my favorite athlete doing album is Terry Funk, because of the story behind it. So like Terry Funk, who's like the wrestling heads are gonna know who Terry Funk is, but he did an album that was basically just a Japanese producer stole a bunch of songs from Jimmy Hart, or had Jimmy Hart produce them from like Memphis. So they're 15 years older, like they're like completely out of date. And they had him redo it as like a love ballad CD in Japan, and apparently they sold some pretty high numbers. So Terry Funk's album is the best album, and then Shaq. Everything Shaq did was pretty good. Well, everything Shaq did was pretty good except for Shaq Fu, and I like Kazan.
I like.
I'm the only one who I know who likes Kazan.
I like Shaq.
You liked Shaq Fu? I
Yes,
don't
I
believe
did.
you. That's a lie.
I did.
Some bullshit right there.
Mephisto was my favorite character.
See, you know the characters, so you're absolutely not lying to me.
Yeah.
Well, did you see Shaq and Steel?
What
Steel, he did the comic book character.
You know what? It was his game, and I didn't. He was like the least person I played.
No, Steel. He did a movie of like the comic book character.
Oh no, I don't.
This is pre Black Panther. This is pre Blade. You know, because Blade was the first black comic book character I ever knew of. So I always kind of really liked Blade. And they were like, yeah, there's another one called Steel and Shaq's in it. And I'm just like, I am not wasting my fucking time on that.
Yeah. Shaq will never get his he'll never get
As
his
the
recognition.
trendsetter.
I remember liking Kazam too, though. Like, I don't remember that movie, but I feel like I remember liking it.
Kazam was cute. It's a cute, like, rapping genie. He made burgers rain from the sky. Like, that was,
Yeah.
We're never going to recover.
Like,
we peaked with Shaq Fu. And you're on record as liking Shaq Fu. That's ballsy.
Oh, I have no shame in that.
Gutsy.
I have no shame in that.
Gutsy.
I will die on that hill by myself. It's fine.
And then there was,
But,
I was gonna say Spawn too, but that Shaq wasn't in Spawn.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Could you imagine Shaq as Spawn? I'd be with that.
He can't ride the motorcycle. He's too big. It would look way too awkward.
I'm just imagining Spawn like the badass who just all he does is rap his lines now because that's all Shaq can do.
Oh man!
All this to get man, my Shamil Abdurakhimov is up next. This is my favorite fighter.
Yeah. So moving on, Shamil Abdurakhimov against Marcin Tybura. Another journey into the heavyweight division where hands were thrown. All I remember thinking about watching this fight was I want this to end because for some reason Tybura's jab looks weird in this box. Like because it's like when he jabs, like his entire body has to move with him. I don't know.
No, you're right.
Weird.
Like he's got like a step. Like he has to step into everything he does.
Yeah, it's really strange. I was like, all right, I need this to be over. This jab is really bothering me. God, I can't remember how the finish was, and I remember liking
it was a counter right hook, wobbled him, dropped him into the fence, and then there was ground and pound to finish the deal. I think that's how it went.
Oh no,
it was
he
against
was knocked
the
out
cage.
standing. He was still on his feet and just getting pummeled, and the ref saved him. I don't remember really a ton happening in this fight. I feel like it was a heavyweight quote unquote kickboxing match.
I will not have you disparage Shamil Abdurakhimov while I'm on here. Like, I don't know why. He's just a fighter who tickles me. Like, he looks like he looks like a, how do I put this politely? He looks like a dude who absolutely works construction. Like, just a big, burly, hairy, like.
He's construction/warehouse
He
manager.
is absolutely the dude at the bar, like one drink in, ready to go, no matter what the situation is. Like, he's just a big... But he moved really well in this fight, I thought. I thought he looked great with his footwork. He had a great game plan to be aggressive against Tybura, who was really passive for some reason. And just kind of, like, shell-shocked. Like, he never looked into the fight at all. I thought... I already forgot his name. Shamil Abdurakhimov. I thought Abdurakhimov looked really sharp, like, specifically countering that weird kind of lazy jab that Tybura was throwing. I just thought he kept him off balance the whole fight, and then caught him with a great counter hook, sealed the deal. Shamil Abdurakhimov is a top 10 heavyweight. Make of that what you will, but it's a fact now, so you got to embrace it.
He's fighting Overeem. We called it.
If Shamil Abdurakhimov beat Overeem, I would probably have a out of body experience. I would probably levitate to the heavens.
Oh man, but no, it was a good win. Like I said, I wanted this fight to be over, and Shamil gave me that. So I appreciate him for putting an end to that jab because it was just really bothering me.
Everything Tybura did in that fight was kind of like, because he's a pretty snazzy kicker, and like I don't remember a kick of substance. I remember one kick that he threw that kind of brushed.
He did two of them. He did that kick twice.
Okay, I remember like one in particular right before the finish that kind of got Abdurakhimov attention. But
so yeah, after that, he didn't do too much else.
We got 2 fights left, and they lasted like a minute each.
Yeah, but congrats to Shamil, TKO in the second round. Moving on to 205, Michelle Oleinik.
Mr. Michelle.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to get this. Oleksiy Juk. You know what? Yeah, Mr. Michelle.
Oleksiy Zuzak. Oli Zuzak.
Something like that. Something
Michelle.
like that.
I think it's best.
versus Gadzmurad Antigulov. Mr. Michel knocked him out.
Yep, like 4 times.
You know what's funny? Yes, this fight was hilarious because it starts off, Antigulov just starts throwing these right hands. He just spams a right hand like 4 times. I mean, he did land it like the first 2. And he just keeps spamming the right hand. They circle back around. Antigulov just, I don't know, like some people when they get hit, they back up. Some people become passive. Not Antigulov. He gets countered with a right, gets dropped, and his immediate response is, oh, I got to get one back. He proceeds to chase Mr. Michel all around the cage in search of getting his hit back. It's like when you're a little kid and somebody hits you and you just have to return the favor. Like, that's just what he did. And he just kept chasing him to try to get his hit back, and it resulted in him getting knocked down 3 times. He got countered with a right, then he got uppercutted. After he got uppercutted, I thought he would have learned, but nope, he kept chasing. Got caught with like the same uppercut just on the other side of the cage, and then got, ground and pound with it's over.
The first knockdown is probably the greatest knockdown I've ever seen. It looked like he got hit with like a banana from Mario Kart because his legs just flew out from under him.
And like when he's chasing him, his head never moves off center. Like he is just
like he went into like Diego Sanchez mode where he's like he went into like the T1000, but instead of like high level Skynet, it's like Windows 95. So it's just this really clunky robot coming forward, just consistently getting hit with the same punch over and over. It was a mess. And Mr. Michel, by the way, we might need to start taking him a little seriously at 205. He KO'd Gian Vellante. Now he's got Gadzmurad Antigulov. And if you want to be realistic, he beat Khalil Roundtree. So that's like 3 wins in a row, technically, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, and that light heavyweight, that basically means...
Oh, yeah, he's about to get Shogun next.
Yeah, so...
He's going to get Shogun or he's going to get Glover. Well, those are the 2 guys you get to like, oh, can you win or no?
Well, I don't know. Glover's got Kudalaba.
He's got the Hulk.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Glover needs to come out to be a man Hulk to prove to establish himself.
But congrats to Mr. Michel. Just listen, man. When somebody gives you their chin, just take it. Like,
yeah, especially when they give it to you over and over again. It's like then you're just being rude.
Yeah, because one of these is gonna knock him out eventually. He keeps falling, so one of these times he's just not gonna get back up. So you just keep throwing until he does it.
I just have no idea what the game plan was.
I don't think I think after that first knockdown, the game plan went out the
window.
What
was the game plan before the first knockdown? Just run at him as fast as you can.
The game plan was I need to knock him down first. And that didn't work, but he kept trying. And 44 seconds later, he's reevaluating his life. But yeah, Michel got that.
We need new guys knocking people out at 205, so I'm with it.
Yeah, I'm all for it, and it was just funny to watch. I would encourage you guys, go back and watch that fight. It's 44 seconds of your time, and it's just funny.
I believe the term you used in the past was a police chase, and this did in fact turn into a police chase.
And the police lost. Like, the criminal got away. Yeah, they're taking your badge when you go back to the.
Struggling right now because I've never seen such a blatant disregard for game plan, for MMA in general. It's like even in regional fights, both guys come out and there was like a slow feeling out process. He was like, no, we're not wasting anything.
Right.
He thought he was in bare knuckle fighting.
You know what? I think he saw the first fight because that's a hard fight to follow up.
He got a little too excited.
Yeah, he was trying to, he wanted to top that.
Just when you get knocked down, it's like, all right, let's reset. Like, let's reassess our situation here.
Right. It's like he got hit and went in a hyperdrive. Like, it's not supposed to.
I mean, we're laughing about it.
That's the opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Also, Michel, that's a dick move, knocking the guy down with the same punch over and over.
Right.
So we got one dick move on this card.
Right. I mean, they both were spamming. He just spammed the
So,
right
okay,
move.
wait a minute. Just to go back real quick, because we're pretty much done here. So let's say that's a dick move by Mr. Michel. What do we consider Overeem's, I'm not going to hit you on the ground? Like, what is that? Because remember, in Mortal Kombat, there's like fatality and then there's friendship, right? So what did Overeem do?
I mean, in terms of fighting, that might be as closest to a friendship.
Until he elbowed the fuck out
because
of him.
Because it's like, right. I think he did that because like, all right, the ref isn't gonna help me, so I just
gotta do something to you.
Yeah, cause he really looked like I don't want to hit. He's probably a nice guy, you know.
59 years old.
Right. I don't want to be responsible for his potential death. I just.
That was a gentleman move. Perhaps we'll call it a gentleman.
It was. Good job, Overeem.
And then you elbowed him. So then you did a dick move because he got his guard down.
Right. But moving on to the last fight of the card, which actually was probably one of the best finishes. Magomed Mustafayev, something like that, versus Rafael Fiziev. Poor Rafael didn't really get a chance to showcase anything because he got kicked a couple of times. It was just like he was trying to just like find his way in, and he got kicked until he got kicked by a kick that you don't want to get kicked by.
Eloquently put.
Like the first few kicks were, and I just emphasize kicks because I don't remember Magomed really throwing a lot of hands. Like I just remember some leg kicks, and then he just lands. I think he threw the spin kick one time before. I think. I want to say he threw it once early, and I think Fiziev like blocked it, but it still kind of like pushed him back. And then he landed it. Yeah, he landed it again. And, you know, normally third time's a charm, but it only took two. He threw a spinning back kick, caught Fiziev, dropped him, rushed him, ground and pound. It was a beautiful spinning back kick. It happened really fast. Damn, I just realized this was that lightweight. Jesus, so that's... Now let me look at Magomed's record, because they said he had been gone for like...
Yeah, he won his first two fights by finish, and then they gave him Kevin Lee. And... He had some success against Kevin Lee, but Kevin Lee's, you know, a genuinely really great lightweight, or really just a really good, solid fighter in general, and he got sent to the back of the line. And then he just kind of disappeared for a while, and he reemerged.
Yeah, that was in 2016.
And then he reemerged as a badass lightweight in 2019, flattening dudes.
As if there aren't enough of those.
Yeah, for real. Like, and Mustafayev looks like a big guy, so I wonder if he could maybe skedaddle up 15 pounds.
Either way, if he, you know, hopefully these kicks can get him places, because that was beautiful. That was a great way. Like, when I saw that highlight, even though I wasn't watching the card like in real time, when I saw that highlight, I was like, oh, maybe there's hope for this card. Maybe this won't be as bad as I think. And there were, I mean, if you watch this card in order, there were a lot of finishes to start the card off, so it had a nice flow to it. Like, you got a nice mix of finishes, couple of decisions.
Well, it's not a bad card.
Yeah, not a bad card. Like, it was one of those things, if you were watching it in real time, like, it was a card that happened. Hopefully you were entertained. Like I said, nothing too crazy, no major storylines, but it was just something to watch, something to pass the time. If you missed the card, you know, go back and watch the main event just because this is the Overeem fight. It's funny.
It's like this card is like a baseball game on a Wednesday in the afternoon. You got nothing to do. It gets you through the workday. So good on them.
Yeah. But like I said, if you missed it, I mean, it's on ESPN Plus, so you can go back and watch the main card on ESPN Plus. Like I said, it was just a cool card. It was not as bad as I thought, so I won't really say anything too bad about it because I honestly was dreading. When I looked at this card initially, I was like, "Oh boy, this is not gonna be a fun day. I'm gonna regret that I do a podcast. It's gonna be one of those cards I just don't really want to talk about." But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Inoffensive. Put it that way. It was an inoffensive card. You watch it, you move on with your day.
Right. And then so that was UFC St. Petersburg, cool card. So go back and watch a couple of the highlights. Next week, we'll be back for Jacare versus Hermansson. This card's gonna be interesting. You got Jacare versus Hermansson. Obviously, Hermansson filling in for Romero.
Romero and Jacare's filling in for Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
It's a makeshift. You know what, though? All jokes aside, if you look beyond the main event and the co-main event, there's some really solid stuff here. Like there's Lineker against Corey Sandhagen, which should be amazing.
Violence.
Cowboy Oliveira against Mike Perry. Ion Cutelaba against Glover Tex. Roosevelt Roberts is a really, really good prospect. He's on the card. There's some good fights in the women's divisions, like Verna Jandarova makes her debut. Everything but the main and the co-main event is really, really good. And even Hermanson against Jacare is kind of intriguing now too. Because Hermanson,
props to Hermanson for like getting himself in this position to even like get this fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Like literally, man, the best ability is availability.
Absolutely.
If you can just keep winning and just keep your name in the mix.
And don't be one of those guys who has the finish really early and then disappears for 6 months. So good for Hermanson for being like, yeah, I'll get right back in there. So thumbs up to him. This is how opportunities are created.
Indeed. This is how you can make a name for
and good on the UFC for like, or ESPN, whoever made the decision, who was just like, listen, this is not ESPN quality. Like, we'll take it. It's a good card, but it's much better on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
And for not having like an ego about it.
But bad on the UFC for giving Greg Hardy versus the Dmitry
Smolyakov. Now, do remember though, like the last time I was on here, and I like hated myself for legit. I even like messaged you like, how fucking bad was that? Like, I had to message you to get your opinion on it. But like, what was I gonna say? If you're gonna use him, you gotta kind of use him in these capacities. Because let's be fair, if this card was on ESPN, people are not watching for Jacare. They're watching for the guy in the co-main event. So.
Yeah.
You're stuck with him. You signed him. Now this is how you're going to have to use him.
Just don't be surprised if you don't get a barn burner.
Yeah. I mean, don't be surprised if everybody hates you for it, but if they're going to hate watch, then they're technically still watching.
Yeah, he's kind of one of those things, like I said, you get what you signed up.
And you know what, I talked about this with the Theanticool this week, like, Greg Hardy's on this card, and like we've been people have been very vocal about it, and I respect that totally. You can be vocal about it, but like Shakur Stevenson was on the boxing card on Saturday, and he was literally just coming, like he's literally, I don't know if he's being charged, if he was charged or whatever the case may be, but like his involvement in a fight where a woman was beat up, and where he apparently started it by coming on to the women with some rather salty language, like. He fought on Saturday, and I don't even know if they mentioned it. Maybe they did, but like I never heard it in the lead up. So wherever you go, you're gonna run into a Greg Hardy. That's just the way the MMA is now, right? Or combat sports.
I just want him in the prelims.
I don't look. No, listen.
That's all I want.
Listen, I have no interest in seeing Dmitry Smolyakov in a co-main event against anybody, but especially not this fight. But I mean, like he's the draw, dude.
Yeah, this money talks.
Money talks.
Whatever gets people talking. That's
because, you hate to say it this way, but like with Jacare and Romero gone, like he's the draw for this show. Unless you're like us and you love bantamweights and you want to see Lineker Sandhagen.
Yeah, that's my main event.
For me,
but I do. Well, no, that's my co-main. Because Jacare is like one of my favorites.
I know we were gonna set some stakes on that. Unfortunately, it just fell apart. But for me, it's Perry against Oliveira because that fight cannot be boring. There's just no way.
Yeah, there will be sleepage. Somebody's dying. Somebody won't.
You hate to say it that way, but yeah, somebody's not going home the same.
Yeah, brain cells will be. I mean, to be honest, Lineker Sandhagen's probably
for sure.
Same. Yeah, some brain cells will be lost.
But to be fair, like, I mean this politely, I'm still not sure that Lineker's a human being. He could legitimately just be like a poorly done robot.
He's different.
We're gonna find out how different. I'm really excited for that.
He got out from the lab. he's been doing all right for himself.
Yeah, for real, he escaped.
Yeah, he escaped. He made an honest living, and he just knocks people out.
And then goes a little Wolverine.
Yeah.
And not only that, but hey, Mr. Nice Guy, the nicest man alive, Glover Teixeira's fighting.
Right. Glover, just don't get it. Like, I don't even want to. I don't want to think about it. Just don't get hurt too bad, man.
Glover Teixeira's gonna win, and then he's gonna invite everybody out for ice cream.
There we go.
That's happiness.
Let's have that moment. But that was pretty much it for fights. To be honest, I feel like we stretched this. We gave you guys a lot of content for a card that honestly didn't require.
Oh, this is definitely a Joey Talks Too Much episode. This is when I gotta pad it, so it's like 4 hours.
Yeah, we feel.
No, but we know what we gave you
guys,
fight analysis.
Yeah.
We gave you some laughs.
I feel like if you didn't see this card, we probably made this sound really interesting.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, I gotta go out and see this Antonina Shevchenko Roxanne Modafferi fight.
Yeah, but don't message me after you watch it. If I didn't meet your expectations, it's not on me. We got to talk, people. We have to do this. We have to make this sound great. And then we're good.
No, this was this is like if you're stuck at work and your boss is like away and you can sneak out and watch a few hours of fights, like this will hook you up.
Exactly what I did, except I didn't.
Well, I mean, you stay in your office and just crouch.
Yeah. I just had my phone in the corner of the desk. It was just on.
Nobody else is doing anything. I'm here on a Saturday. What's the problem?
Yeah, it was one of those.
You had a parting shot you wanted to get to, by the way, because we're close to the end, right? Is there another card that I missed?
Yeah. No, I mean that was pretty much it. Like I said, next week we'll have, we'll be back for Jacare Hermansson, and then what else is next week? Next week is actually pretty busy. We got Jacare Hermansson, and then Bellator has a card. Is that Fitch? And yeah,
I don't know.
So we have Jacare Hermansson next week, and then Bellator 220 next week. So that'll be Roy McDonald and John Fitch. So next week is actually kind of busy because that card actually has some good fights on it.
Yeah, like I don't know how much I'm gonna be watching of it. Next weekend is the NFL draft. That's like my 3-day off on the sound off. So perhaps Alex will cover these fights. I doubt it. I really doubt it. I really, really, really doubt it. But perhaps he'll jump in and handle these, and I'll reemerge. They showed the UFC schedule. Apparently, there's an event on like May 4th, and I have no idea who's on it. You can't I couldn't even tell you. So
we'll find out the day before.
I'll find out when I get the message that I need to be on it, that I'm being drafted.
All right, it'll be some random.
I'm gonna look it up right now and see if I can figure it.
Oh no, that's the Iquinta Cowboy.
Is it? You know why I blocked that card out of my mind? Because Derek Brunson versus Elias Theodorou is like genuinely one of the worst fights I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And to be honest, there aren't a lot of this is another one of those cards that you look at on paper and it's like, ooh, I don't know.
You know what's weird? Like if you do Iaquinta Cerrone and Swanson Burgos as like the main co-main, it's like, oh man, that's a hell of a card. But it's like the second fight that hits you in the face is Theodorou against Brunson, and you're like, oh man, because it's so weird how like the co-main event can get you kind of excited for something, and then yeah, dude, like the rest of this card is not too hot. There's a lot of heavyweights though, a lot of big boys doing big things, but
that can either be great or it can be it can be not so. Shout out to Macy. Chasing last name up.
Yeah.
Kiasone.
Oh yeah, she's fighting Sarah Morris. That's an interesting fight.
She's on here. And it sucks that she had to drop to 35 because 45 just doesn't really exist. But she's somebody who I root for, who I hope does well. Just a new, fresh face in a division that is in much need of new fresh
dire
faces.
need of help, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, your boy Walt Harris is on the card. You were just talking about him.
Yeah, he's fighting Sergey Spivak, whoever that is.
Spivak.
Yeah, this card is gonna be kind of weird, but that's all of the fights and stuff for this week. So we will close out the episode as always with parting shots and shout outs. So quick shout outs to friend of the show, the only fighter we've ever interviewed, Jose Shorty Torres. He is over in Brave CF, where he fought this weekend at Brave CF 23, and he won via unanimous decision over Amir Albazi. I didn't get a chance to watch the fight. Hopefully it's online somewhere. I don't know if Brave is under Fight Pass.
No, I don't think so.
Well, hopefully I ain't gonna lie. I'll probably have to bootleg this somehow. But I'll find a way to find a replay of that fight.
Hey, we bring you nothing but honesty.
But shout outs to Jose Shorty Torres. Glad he got a win in his post UFC career. Shout outs to just the NBA playoffs in general. There are some matchups in the playoffs that I'm not really interested in, but outside of those, my Spurs are giving me scares. I'm hoping we can beat the Nuggets, but Jesus Christ, young guys with their run and gun offense, and us with our whatever we're doing. I don't. It didn't look too good yesterday. But
DeMar DeRozan losing his cool, having a temper tantrum.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. But no, NBA playoffs, man, it's just a great time for sports. Playoffs are they're really fun. You get a lot of good matchups. Like, I've been really interested in just watching Dame Lillard and
Russell Westbrook.
Russell
Yeah,
Westbrook.
that's a hell of a series, hell of a beef we got going on there.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like, that's what makes the playoffs exciting. It's just you get these little rivalries, and it makes for really great moments.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shout outs to just the NBA playoffs. Shout outs to Tiger Woods for winning.
I mean, I guess.
Hey, he came back from crashing his car and cheating and
yeah, like I always so much of the Tiger Woods narrative because Alex is a big golf guy and he loves Tiger Woods and he was so big on the Masters and I'm just so much of the narrative we kind of just refer to all of the problems all of these self-inflicted wounds that he has as after coming through so much tribulations. It's those are all self-inflicted wounds. He's the one
it was all his fault.
Had a DUI and.
Well, outside of because he did also.
Oh no, I understand, but people get hurt, and if the Tiger Woods story was just man, he came back from injuries, I'd be it's. But this dude's self-destruct, and it's we just casually refer to it as the troubles that he has.
It's tribulations, but it's different.
So good. And you know what? The Tiger Woods thing. At the end of the day, I was just kind of if it makes people happy, who am I to be a dick about it? So just be happy, folks.
We all like a redemption story.
Some of us do. I'm I root for the Patriots in the Super Bowl because I just frustrating people. I'm frustrating. You know what? This is actually probably the best time to be a sports fan. There's combat sports every week. The NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs are really good. There's a lot of upsets happening. The NFL draft is coming up. There's Major League Baseball ongoing. There's a little bit of something for everyone in this time of year. So I like this time of year.
Yeah. Good time.
So you had
now to get to
we got shots and
I got a parting shot. So when I was at work, obviously I realized this card is on ESPN Plus. Let me stop being a dinosaur. Let me download the app finally on my phone so I can watch this while I'm at work, or at least attempt to. And boy, oh boy, does ESPN Plus not really make this easy. I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but for some reason, for the first 20 minutes, every time I went on the ESPN Plus and tried to start the stream, I kept getting an error. It seems like every time you're logged in on more than one device, they it just freaks out. Because most of the time I'm logged in from my laptop, and then when I try to log in from my phone, I just had so many issues trying to get the stream to come up. And I kept trying to do it from the home page and it wouldn't work. So I had to do just some really roundabout, all right, I can't click the link from the home page. Let me find a link from some other, I kept having to do all these little weird maneuvers just so I could, just to do all this just to watch a card. And to be honest, at one point I was just going to stop and give up. But at that point, the main card started and I wanted to see a few of those fights, so I cut it on.
Right.
But yeah, just ESPN Plus, man. It's a good platform. The stream is clean when it does run, but it's just not
on mobile. It is absolutely a pain in the ass. For me, it was.
It's not fun. It's not very user friendly.
Yeah, I've had that problem before. I tried to watch the Michael Conlon fight on the road one time, and it was it buffered repeatedly, and then it would just log me out randomly, and a work in progress, shall we say?
Yeah, and then I got mad because I would click on the link and they would say start your free trial. No, I already paid for this.
Well, that's I don't know how you were with the UFC pay-per-view, but I had people in my inbox repeatedly how the fuck do I order this pay-per-view? just losing their minds because they couldn't figure out how to get it to work. And apparently nobody from ESPN thought like, oh, hey, like we have the app on all these streaming devices. Perhaps we should make sure that you can order the pay-per-view on Xbox and PS4. Like nobody thought about that. So there are folks trying to figure it out, and it's like, no, you can only order it on your laptop, and that's absurd.
Yeah. So parting shot to ESPN.
In the words of LeBron James, do better.
Indeed. Yes, do better. You guys make way too much money for this to be. You're looking like Fight Pass. Right?
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you, people?
I don't want you to look like Fight Pass. Be better. You're ESPN. You have a name to uphold. So yeah, do better. But that's all I got for parting shots.
I got a put over, 2 of them actually, or 3 of them perhaps. Big kudos to Max Holloway and Eric Anders and Dustin Poirier for all putting their gear from UFC 236 for Dustin Poirier's charity. Apparently, Max Holloway just did it randomly. Well, not, like he did it unasked. He just walked over and handed the gloves over to either Poirier or his agent or whatever, which is really cool. Good for them. Good on Dustin Poirier for continuing to do a nice thing. MMA fans, I don't understand why you don't like Dustin Poirier, but like start liking him. He's great. If you have not seen the fighter, the agony and the whatever the UFC does, he goes out of his way to kind of talk to Max Holloway's son after Holloway's lost, and his kid's obviously disappointed and hurt, and probably spooked for his dad, and Dustin went over there and talked to him and cheered him up. So there's like we get so much bad in MMA. We need to embrace good people like Dustin Poirier. That's all I'm saying. Embrace good folks. I don't have anything negative to say for once. I know that I'm the negative guy, but I'm pretty upbeat. It's Easter Sunday. What you got anything else you want to be mad about?
Nah, I think I'm ESPN Plus grinding my gears, but that was
who could I be? I'm trying to think of who else I could be like this. What I could be upset about. I really don't have.
I just there probably is
there's
something
like a ton in the world to be mad about, but like let's not focus on that for once. Let's be positive. Yeah.
I'll leave you guys alone. Because if I sit here long enough, then I'll think about it.
I guess the only thing, parting shot to Sensei for thinking that Shazam was like, no, that Shaq Fu was good.
You guys grew up with it like I did. Listen, we didn't know how trash games were back then.
Oh, dude, like what game? I'm trying to think of what game it was that's like my favorite game, and then I picked it up and tried to play it, and I was so sad. I think it was the Rugrats game on the PlayStation that had like mini golf in it. And I was just trying to play it, I couldn't figure it out. Heartbroken.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm cool.
Have a good attitude today. Be positive. Talk to people nice.
Yeah, and the weather's getting nicer. So
yeah, for sure.
Go outside, man. Take a walk. It's good time of year. It's like it's getting warmer, but it's not like super hot yet.
It's spring weather. It's what spring's supposed to feel like.
Yeah. So go outside, get some ice cream.
Yeah.
Go chill out.
Listen to the podcast. Give it a 5-star review. Don't be one of these chumps out here not handing out these 5 stars.
Yeah. Like we said, share it to just unexpected people. Like I said, you're trying to talk to that girl. Just text her the podcast.
Yeah.
She might not ever text.
No, she might just be like, "What the fuck is your problem, you weirdo? Don't ever send me this again." But you gotta try, right? Nobody wins by not trying.
Right. It's about the effort. Eventually, somebody's gonna like it, and then you'll have a love.
There you go. And then you'll have Anticool will be at your wedding. We can guarantee that.
Well, we'll let you get on the podcast. We'll let you guys talk
about how you met. Anticool will be. He'll go to your wedding. He'll what could he do at the wedding? Carry the ring. He'll be the ring bearer.
I was gonna say, can we podcast the wedding? I don't even know if that's
you know what? We're not a rinky-dink organization unless there's some fucking weird between fights. Like, here's what we'll do. You can get married on the first BBQ Fight League show.
There we go.
And look, guess what? You catered.
Like how Rizin does, like, intermission.
Yeah, well, like, because we've all watched, like, if you've ever watched a regional MMA show, they'll do, like, a random, like, what is that thing that, like, the housewives do that's, like, It's like a special kind of raffle. You know what I'm talking about? So like
Yeah,
we'll just do like one of like it's like instead of a raffle, we have a marriage.
Yeah. And put everybody in a nice mood and make them forget all the old men who got beat up before the card.
They're all there.
Yeah, just everybody's spirits will be raised. It'll be
Tim
something
Boach
nice.
will throw the bouquet for you.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
I'm trying to...
we got this all planned. So yeah, just
pass it along. And look, like the only way this thing's gonna grow for because I'm a guest here. I'm just a humble, occasional part-timer. But the only way Sensei and Anticool are gonna grow more is if you guys do your part. So just always remember that.
Share, please.
Well, we don't have to beg. Well, we do have to beg sometimes, but not this time.
Yeah.
Think about it. I was gonna say your Easter gift, but like it's gonna be Wednesday when this goes up. So
right.
your mid-Wednesday good deed. You know, you want to make sure you get into heaven. You got to do a good deed. Like, hey, you shared the podcast.
There you go. That's all we want you to do.
We swear, if you share it, Anticool will go to your wedding. He'll go to your wedding, your bar mitzvah, your birthday party.
And I'll podcast.
We will absolutely do a show from your. Yeah. You have to pay for the flight, though.
Yeah,
and we can't guarantee
just...
Stokes. He's a flight risk. He might.
I mean, if you want a cheap flight, you can do Spirit. We can't guarantee your relationship.
Oh my God.
Hey man.
The worst.
Some risk you gotta take.
Jesus, what a way to end on a positive note, and then we drop that.
Yeah, this is pretty much it for today's show. So as always, you guys can catch us on various streaming platforms: SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Follow us on the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. And you can follow me on Twitter and Twitch @SerialSensei. But that is all we got for you guys for today. So as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys.
Bye.